Am I muted? Can y'all hear me? Said my microphone was muted. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Happy Friday. Oh, my. Today is just a struggle of a day. Let me turn my phone down. What's going on here? You can hear me on Twitch. Now you can hear me. Okay, I was muted. Dear Lord, somebody help me. Yes, dear Jess, get out of vertical. Get out of vertical. We're streaming in horizontal, vertical, whichever way you prefer. All right, good. Well, I mean, we're just going to talk about a few things, right? I mean, some of this stuff is not new. A lot of this stuff kind of took place yesterday. 808 TV's here. Let me say what's up to everybody that's here. Raina's here. Okay, so some of these comments were from like last night when I made the live. But Jess is here. Tammy's here. Welcome, Tammy, M. DeBose, Mac Dizzle. Raina's here. Rach is here. Leah's here. Dear Jess, hello. Barbara Bish, what's going on? Ash, are you stuck in vertical? May is here. Welcome, May. Me Blondie, welcome. Storm's here. What's up, Storm? Thanks for the chat earlier today. We were chatting earlier. Poetically speaking, what's going on? First Liberties Podcast. What's up, Joe? How you doing? Military Ma, welcome. Monique is here. You lost to a girl. Uh-oh. How's it going, you guys? I'm just going to give you guys a heads up, you guys. I'm a little tired today. Had a long work day, and we're here. We're going to try to put on a show tonight, right? But if I fall asleep, just let me go. Just let me fall asleep. Valerie's here. It's 3 a.m. Where are you at? 808? 3 a.m. It's past your bedtime. Let me turn the comments on, turn the banners on. We got to do like show prep. Back to the comments. South London, that's right. You did tell me that the last time. I just forgot. I forgot. Department of Aesthetics, welcome. All right, you guys. So what are we talking about tonight? We're going to be talking about the David case. A lot of you guys have been, keeping up with everything. So we're going to be talking about that. And we're going to be talking about, what took place in the courtroom yesterday. We'll review some of the videos that everybody's put up, right? We have a few videos from Trapmore Ross, some of the news outlets. There's a video that I want to watch from Law and Crime regarding yesterday. And then I don't know if any of you guys know, SF Investigates did a show today. Well, he was on a live stream, and he was basically talking, answered a few questions. I don't know if anybody caught it, but we'll definitely have a chance to talk about it. So, yeah. Yesterday, they had what was supposed to be a preliminary hearing, right? But for some reason, somehow, some way, all it really was like a scheduling conference. And during that scheduling conference, there was a lot of information that kind of came out. Wait, hold on. Jazzy Jazz, thank you so much for your $5 super chat. Wake up. We're waking up. We're trying to wake up as much as we can. Thank you so much, Jazzy. I appreciate your support. It's crazy, you guys. I woke up and we had like 1,900 subs. So that means that we are on our way to breaking 2,000. Let's go. It's crazy because it was only like 2 months ago when we hit 1,000. So thanks, everybody. I appreciate you guys. Support is crazy. You guys are definitely showing love. I need a box of Snickers, Foxy. Oh, I'm telling you, just get me that box. I want a box. We're steadily growing, you guys. We are steadily growing. Slowly but surely, we will make it there. But thanks to all of you guys who have supported the channel in the past week or so. A lot of people have subscribed to the channel. So thanks to, if anybody's new here, put a 1 in the chat. If you're brand new, you've never been to this channel before, it's your first time, put a 1 in the chat so we can say what's up. Let me say what's up to the new people. Thank you, Jess. Well, we love you. Department of Aesthetics, thank you so much. Welcome. Well, we hope that you have a great time here. Ram Rising, welcome, welcome, welcome. Shut up, Sid. This is not your first. This is not your first rodeo. Well, welcome to everybody that's new here. Military Ma, you're a member of the channel. Miss Sin, welcome. And just in case, so I've seen a lot of the people that put a 1 in the chat. A lot of you guys are in the vertical mode. And if you don't like the vertical mode, you guys can go to my channel and find the other live. It's the title without the iPhone emoji. That's the horizontal mode. So you pick whichever one you may. You can stay where you're at. You can come on over and join us over here on the horizontal. You're keeping me on my toes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As long as I don't fall asleep, right? So yesterday they had the scheduling conference that everybody thought was going to be a preliminary hearing, and everybody wanted to know what the hell was going on, right? But before that, I do want to say that the public was in an outrage for what we would say is probably about 7 months, right? A lot of talk about LAPD not doing anything, medical examiners keeping their records sealed, the DA's office isn't doing enough, and Reddit's going crazy, Twitter's going crazy. Everybody just wants to know what is going on. And for a long period of time, there was a dead silence, right? We had 0 updates except for one person, and that was SF Investigates. And he was the only person who really gave us any kind of updates on this case, right? But I do remember yesterday hearing from a lot of people that were reporting that yesterday couldn't have came any faster, right? But they also did mention that yesterday's date, the timing was not just a coincidence. The timing was planned. And as some of you guys may know, April 23rd, which was yesterday, marked the 1-year anniversary of the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, right? So I think it's safe to say that prosecutors chose this day for a very specific reason. But yeah, so I know a lot of you guys have seen this photo right over here, right? This is our guy, our boy in orange, David Anthony Burke, finally in an orange jumpsuit. He appeared at the hearing in court, and he was finally wearing his orange jumpsuit, right? So I know on the 20th, he was wearing his raggedy old black hoodie. And I guess because that was just his, what was it? His hearing. I don't know. I think he looks good in orange, you guys, right? Don't you think he looks good in orange? I think it fits. Dear Jess, thank you so much for your $10 super chat. Keep up the good work, Flo, Joe, and Mama Flo. I have a big surprise. Ooh, you will know later. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Thank you so much. We appreciate you supporting the channel. Orange is the new black, right? For Services Podcast. Orange is the new black. And here, we'll play this.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Hey. Cannibal Whitney. Hey, Flo, glad to finally make a live. Love to Yoshi. Also, how about that WWE SmackDown? I'll be honest with you, haven't watched it yet. It was on at 5, so it's probably still on right now, right? So we'll definitely be watching that as I snuggle up and get ready for bed, which might be soon, you guys, because I might tap out early. So I was looking at let's just kind of start off with Trapmore Ross, because he was there at the courthouse and he was there to see everything that kind of went down. And he said he sat literally right behind David. He was hoping that he would make eye contact for whatever odd reason. But he didn't. So let's go ahead and listen to what he had to say. Let's turn this down.
There is so much discovery. There's like
Let me turn this up.
terabytes of discovery, so much information. They've got all of his entire iCloud, and they're saying that it's so big that the courthouse system for sending discovery, for sending files, videos, documents is overwhelmed. They can't even send it. I think they said since David got arrested, they've only managed to upload about 30% of all of the terabytes that they have. They said they have all of his iCloud account, and they even said it was funny because they said, "Look, we need some storage. We either need to have an update of the online system so that we can transfer all of these files, or we need the defense to give us hard drives." And it was pretty funny because at one point, Blair Burke from the defense, they pulled out a hard drive and they said, "Well, we've got 5 terabytes for you here, right there." And Beth Silverman said that ain't even nearly enough. 5 terabytes ain't going to do nothing. We got 40 terabytes, and they said some of these files are so big. Some of the files are 10 terabytes plus that you need an entire hard drive to even just put one file. Like, there's so much. So they got his whole iCloud. He's got illegal videos of minors that are apparently illegal to send. And for people to actually, in the defense, to go and look at those videos.
They were saying yesterday that David was like super cool, calm, and collected as he was walking into the courtroom. I forgot who it was, but I heard somebody saying it didn't look like the man was facing a death penalty. It looked like he was waiting for a sound check. The guy looked so bored.
They're going to have to go to a special room in the courthouse and watch it on an approved computer, because you're not even allowed to load up this type of content on a device. It's illegal, all right? I don't want no parts of what they got going on with that. But also, apparently they had wiretaps on David. Apparently they had a wiretap going. I don't know how long for. I don't know if it was from when the crime happened, if it was even a period of time when, she went missing. It says they were investigating.
So yeah, they were mentioning yesterday that they've been running wiretaps on David for roughly a part of last year, right? Which obviously I'm assuming that this was after the death of Celeste, but I'm really curious to find out a lot of the details regarding the wiretaps, because man, oh man, if they had his phones tapped, that man is in trouble.
Whether or not, that like there was already an open case related to Celeste and David, and apparently they had a wiretap on him, and apparently that is so extensive, the prosecution haven't even heard all of it yet, and they're basically waiting to have it skimmed through, because as well, they've got to be careful that nothing on that wiretap goes against attorney-client privilege. So that is likely to mean that wiretap was probably recorded like during the period when David was still out here, but the crime was announced. I think that's when that wiretap was probably taken. And yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's a good question, Barbara Bitch. I don't know if it was FBI that was doing the wiretaps. I do remember hearing that there was FBI present during his arrest on April 16th, but I don't know if FBI is currently involved in this case. But with the new discovery of all this CSAM that he had on his... Now, there's confusion whether or not it was on his iCloud or if it was on his iPhone. I would imagine it was on his iCloud, because no iPhones are... The largest iPhone that's out there right now, I believe, is a 2 terabyte, right? So if he had 10 terabytes of CSAM, he would have needed like 5 phones. So who knows? Maybe David does have 5 phones, right? We do know that he had one that was getting chopped up on its way to China. So we'll see.
So it was interesting because there was also a guy from the press that came through, and he basically was arguing that they should be allowed to have like cameras in the courtroom. Judge was not feeling that. Judge basically said, "Hey, we're not doing no cameras in the courtroom. That's not happening, unfortunately." I was able to get in court. I sat like a couple rows behind David. I literally saw the whole thing go down, and I'll probably keep coming back to just keep track of what's going on. But I feel like the biggest thing from this was the wiretap. Sounds like they got a lot of evidence.
Okay, so First Liberties podcast gave me one of the penal codes for California to look up a list of possible offenses that would authorize that warrant for the wiretap. And so let me look at this one. I'll just kind of read it. I wanted to show this to you guys, but it says there's probable cause to believe that an individual is committing, has committed, or is about to commit one of the following offenses. And there's listed about 7 of them, and then 7 has like 4 subsections. So number 1 is importation, possession for sale, transportation, manufacture, or sale of controlled substances in violation with a bunch of codes. With respect to a substance containing heroin, cocaine, PCP, meth, fentanyl, or their precursors or analogs where the substance exceeds 10 gallons by liquid volume or 3 pounds of solid substances by weight. So obviously probably not that. Number 2, murder, solicitation to commit murder, a violation of section 209, or the commission of a felony involving a destructive device in violation of a few of these sections. Number 3 is a felony violation, so could have been that. Number 4 is a felony violation, section 11418, relating to weapons of mass destruction. Okay, not that. A is a violation of section 236.1. Number 6 is a felony violation of subdivision B or D of section 311.2. Okay. Number 7 is an attempt or conspiracy to commit any of the above mentioned crimes. And then B, there's probable cause to believe that particular communications concerning the illegal activities will be obtained through that interception, including but not limited to communications that may be utilized for locating or rescuing a kidnapped victim. C says there's probable cause to believe that the facilities from which or the place where the wire or electronic communications are to be intercepted are being used or about to be used in connection with the commission of the offense, or are leased to, listed in the name of, or commonly used by the person whose communications are intercepted. So, with everything that you guys heard, guilty of crime. What's up, Jay? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We just wrapped up. Jay just did a 2-hour show, so I want you guys to make sure that you go check out Guilty of Crime. And if any of the mods can drop their channel, let me see. I'm already here, actually, so I can go ahead and do that. So let's make sure you guys give our good friends Jay a follow over there at Guilty of Crime. So Chloe, our legal eagle, right, our legal correspondent in the chat said local law enforcement can apply a wiretap, and it's not just the feds. So there you go. So which one of those do you think that he committed? Did he find a wire on her? I doubt it. I don't think so. Let me see. I want to make sure that I keep up with the chat, you guys. They need to put him on special watch to make sure he does not take himself out, because he is way too calm if he has a plan B. I don't know. And I'll show you a video because I don't know. They were talking about I saw a video of David, and he was talking about like the best way to go out and the preferred method that he chose and that he would like to go out if that ever, came to fruition. Type of one in the chat if you guys want to see that video. Close said, not a chance LAPD is sending a minor in with a wire. Yeah, she'd probably get... They'd probably find out way too fast, right? Let me see. An invisible strand wiretap. He talked about cutting that wire. No, they definitely no. But for wiretaps though, they don't necessarily need to have like a physical device, right? Like they can tap into your phone and listen to your conversations. I remember hearing Strategic Eyes last night basically saying that they can listen to all of your conversations, but the only ones that they are not privy to are ones where you are discussing with your legal counsel. So using a wire is impossible. Okay, that would make absolute sense. You guys want to see that really quick? Let me go ahead and find that one. I think it's this one. Is it this one? Where'd it go? Okay. I found it. All right, here we go, you guys. This is a video of David basically saying his preferred method of execution if he ever had to face it. So, give the man what he wants. Here you guys go.
You said, where we going? Into the forest. I remember the last time a YouTuber went to the forest. Hey, Logan Paul, hey, my boy. That surgery will probably give me mental problems. I already got him. Give me more. I already electrocuted you. I'm trying to get electrocuted for it. I think that's the best way to go out. Electric chair.
What did he say?
You said, where we going? Into the forest. I remember the last time a YouTuber went to the forest. Hey, Logan Paul, hey, my boy. That surgery will probably give me mental problems. I already got him.
Here he's admitting that he already has mental problems, you guys. I don't know if he's joking or if he's really downplaying that he actually really does have mental problems.
Logan Paul, hey, my boy.
Now, here the comment that he makes about Logan Paul, he's joking because obviously Logan Paul went through that scandal where he filmed a person hanging in the Japanese in a forest in Japan, and that was a big old thing, right? You guys remember that?
Hey, Logan Paul, hey, my boy. That surgery will probably give me mental problems. I already got him. Give me more.
Already got him. Give me more.
Probably give me mental problems. I already got him. Give me more. I already electrocuted you. I'm trying to get electrocuted for it.
He said, I'm trying to get electrocuted. Okay.
I already electrocuted you. I'm trying to get electrocuted for it. I think that's the best way to go out. Electric chair.
The best way to go out is the electric chair, you guys. Should law enforcement give the man what he wants? I say give it to him. If he wants the electric chair, we can give it to him because...
You're done. Sorry, but you're done.
All right, let's go back to Trentmore Ross's video really quick so we can just kind of get a little understanding of what else took place.
So many terabytes of information they're trying to upload, and it's confirmed that he did have illicit videos of minors in his possession. So I think that's a crime in itself. I don't see how he's going to explain that one away. That's been confirmed in court now. And yeah, we're just going to have to see. But
you know what? I saw an article. I didn't actually read it, but apparently the government is about to like beef up their executions here. Did anybody read that article? I saw it. But so they're considering bringing back what is it? The firing squad, which is crazy.
I would say, to be honest, Beth Silverman, the district attorney, did an amazing job. She spoke very, very confidently. She was very, very on point. And I'll be honest, not trying to throw no shade, but I feel like Blair Buck, the defense, they was looking a little bit shaky. They was looking a little bit ropey. They didn't seem to have anywhere near as much confidence as Beth Silverman. There was even a time when it was like they was trying to schedule a next hearing and they were talking about dates and they were like, so like Blair Buck's like, we could do the 27th or the 29th. And then like Beth Silverman's like, no, I can't work those dates. Like she was low-key walking them around the courtroom. And I feel like the DA did an amazing job and was really holding everyone's feet to the fire, even in like little small ways. So.
All right. And then we have, let me see, KTLA 5 put out their video today or yesterday. Let's see what they have to say.
Is back in a downtown LA courtroom today, days after he was charged with murder and the death of a 14-year-old girl. The judge set a preliminary trial date for May 1st as prosecutors revealed more details in their investigation. KTLA's Jennifer McGraw live for us in downtown LA with the very latest. Jen, good morning.
Hi, Megan. Good morning. Yeah, David came into court in an orange jumpsuit and handcuffs. Prosecutors say there is so much evidence that both the prosecution and the defense need more time. So that's why they set the date of May 1st. Now, we are learning new details, disturbing details this morning in regards to this investigation. Investigators have alleged that they've uncovered child pornography on the suspect's phone. And some of the other evidence includes wiretaps, grand jury transcripts, police body cam footage, forensic evidence, and property and vehicle reports, and of course, the autopsy info. The LA County Medical Examiner confirms Celeste Rivas Hernandez died from what's described has multiple penetrating injuries, and her death has been ruled a homicide. The 26-page report details gruesome injuries after finding her remains last September inside a Tesla linked to David Anthony Burke, who simply goes by David. Investigators say Celeste was last seen on April 23rd of last year. David has pleaded not guilty, and legal analysts say what matters now is whether prosecutors can directly tie those injuries to the defendant.
Unless more information is revealed and we learn more from the police reports, the prosecution is still going to have to show that it was David that was holding whatever that weapon is and inflicted those injuries.
Carenza, you're right. It was firing squad and lethal injection was the other one. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. It was lethal injection. It was, I think it was like single dose lethal injection and firing squad.
The case has drawn added attention because of David's 2022 breakout song entitled Romantic Homicide. Prosecutors allege the 21-year-old killed the 14-year-old because she threatened to expose what they describe as an illegal sexual relationship with a minor. Now, David faces some serious charges. He will be back in court in LA here on May 1st, and he could seek the death penalty. That's very latest. We're live in downtown Los Angeles. Back to Hollywood.
Yeah, the electric chair. I just feel like getting electrocuted in general just hurts like crazy, right? I wonder if they would probably just wrap like a wet towel around their head, so as soon as they put that thing on, that water would conduct it and it would call it a night, right? That thing's definitely got to be super painful. Let's see. CBS also put out a video that basically, let me see, there's only like 2 minutes. Let's see if they get into anything crazy.
For singer David in his first-degree murder case.
The prosecution revealed details about disturbing digital evidence. Let's get to CBS LA's Rick Montanez with what we learned in court today. Rick, what are you hearing?
Amy, Chris, the hearing just wrapped up within the half hour here, and cameras were not allowed in court, but I can tell you that the defendant, David Burke, was in court today in shackles.
Your hair doesn't fry? They shave your head completely. Imagine seeing a bald David
wearing that orange jumpsuit. The biggest new piece of evidence revealed, prosecutors say a significant amount of child porn found on Burke's cell phone. We also want to point out that this all happens one day after the medical examiner's report became public. That is the report on the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. The report says, or I should say the family of Rivas Hernandez is absolutely devastated to learn the gruesome details contained in that write-up. That's according to a family statement. So this report says the 14-year-old girl died of sharp force trauma, but the autopsy was difficult because of the severe decomposition of her dismembered body when it was found in the singer's abandoned Tesla last September.
That is right. There is a moratorium on the death penalty, and it's been in place since Gavin Newsom was governor. So it's, and we also haven't had an execution in California for 2 decades. So yeah, I don't think we're going to see one anytime soon. Let me see if this will work. So, First Liberties podcast, you're saying that he is going to look like this? They're going to make him look like this if he ever sits down in that chair? Imagine that sight. Ooh, that would be a sight to see. Ooh. Oh, David. Yeah, this guy got a big old head. Yikes.
September. Officials say she died 5 months earlier in April of last year. Burke, the suspect, known by his stage name David, was arrested last Thursday. On Monday, he pled not guilty to the capital murder charges. We spoke with a former federal prosecutor just a short time ago here on CBS LA Mornings about this new evidence revealed in today's hearing and the fact that David's phone, according to prosecutors, contains child porn.
And obviously, we don't know if it's Celeste Rivas's images and videos or something else, but that is possibility that the feds even step into this case because they typically will prosecute these types of child pornography cases.
And we also learned from prosecutors that there is a large amount of digital data that needs to be processed and shared as evidence with the defense. So there is a lot that will happen as this case moves forward, but it will be back in court. Both sides will be back in court on April 29th next week, so they can get an update on where they stand with evidence, whether they need more time to prepare for a potential capital murder trial. Also worth noting, today's date, April 23rd, marks the 1 year since Celeste Rivas Hernandez was last seen alive. Reporting live in downtown Los Angeles, Rick Montanez, CBS LA.
Okay, so for context, you guys, there's 40 terabytes of evidence. That is such a huge amount of evidence, and I don't know, I can't even comprehend how much evidence they actually have. And that's not including the 10 terabytes of CSAM that he has stored in his iCloud, iPhone, whatever it is. For context, right? The typical iPhone, right? If you're just, a normal iPhone consumer, your phone is probably like 256 gigabytes, right? If we were to take that 40 terabytes and disperse that amongst the 256 gigabyte iPhone, that would be like 152 or 156 iPhones full of storage. That is insane, you guys. 156 iPhones full of CSAM material. Can you guys believe that? Like, that is ridiculous. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not CSAM material, just of evidence in general, right? That is crazy. They probably have a ton of wiretaps, a shit ton of CCTV. Who knows? I mean, what type of evidence do you think they are holding in that 40 terabyte storage? I'm curious what you guys think is going to be shown in this evidence. His Discord, okay. His Discord messages, that's for sure. So SF said that he was sending some of that to his victims, allegedly. He was sending some of that material to, like, what the evidence that he gathered. Lots of videos, a lot of MP4s, that's for sure. Lots of videos. Blair Burke has a lot to do. Yep. I'm curious to see what they have, because this is going to be ridiculous. All right, the next thing I want to jump into is Jesse Weber's sidebar, because he had I don't know what the name of this reporter is, but let me see. I think it's Dina Dahl. She was there in the courtroom, and she gave a lot of information, and she was actually talking about how there were two younger adults. Well, I wouldn't even say younger adults. Let's just say there were two minors there. So I'm very curious who those minors might have been. Let's go ahead and listen to this video. This video is about a 20-minute video, you guys. So we'll watch and we'll react, okay? We listen and we won't judge.
David and his legal team were back in Los Angeles court today, along with a team of LA prosecutors, and are on the...
Oh, Ava, okay, thank you for clarifying. David was sending some inappropriate stuff through text messages to the victims, allegedly. Now, that is ridiculous. That is disgusting, right? Okay, hold on. So, Chloe clarified, as far as storage goes, 1 terabyte is about $1,250 to $1,500 standard 4-door filing cabinets for the record. Holy shit. Wow. That's a lot of little filing cabinets. That's crazy. Does she do the hair flip right here? I need to see that hair flip.
Ground reporter Dina Dahl was inside. There are no cameras. She is our eyes and our ears. We're going to talk about what was discussed in court and what authorities said they allegedly found on David's devices. And I will tell you right now, shocking. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Look, before we even go any further, I got to tell you about this long crime legal alert, okay? Roblox, okay, when they claim he killed 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And by the way, we expected today to be a preliminary hearing where the court will hear evidence if there's enough probable cause that these alleged crimes were committed to move forward with the case. It's a legal barrier, lower standard, low bar, but you have to show that there is sufficient probable cause that he committed these crimes, and I'll talk about which ones he's charged with, to move this case to the next stage. Here's the thing. Wasn't a preliminary hearing today. No, it turns out, even though a preliminary hearing was on the court calendar, this was more of a status conference. It's a check-in regarding next steps in the case. Now, if you thought that this was going to be a 2-minute hearing and that was it, not the case. No. We are going to get into specifically what authorities claim they found on David's devices. I wonder if this is a whole new game here. I wonder if now we're talking potential federal charges, if those allegations are true. I'll get to that.
I even heard that this man was complaining while he was spending his time in jail. He was upset that he had no money on his books, that the room was dirty. Like, this kid really thinks that he's about to live the life of luxury, trapped in a little, I don't know how big it is. What, like maybe a 4x10 cell? I even heard that they froze his bank accounts. But who is he to complain? Who is he?
But before we even get into what happened.
Okay, hold on. I wish I had that sound effect. Hold on. I need to find it. Oh, David doesn't have his money on his books. Definitely not the sound effect I wanted. Damn it. Is it this one? David. And my phone's ringing as we speak. No, we're not answering phone calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, David has no money on his books, and he'd like to know if he can have a sandwich. Psych. No.
Happened today. I just got to give you some context about this, okay? So we have talked about this before. Remember, when I'm mentioning a preliminary hearing, which I understand has now been scheduled for a later date, this goes back to the idea of the grand jury. We know that there were reports that a grand jury was impaneled to hear evidence in the...
Not only did a grand jury convene, but we learned after what happened yesterday that there were a total of 3 grand juries. One took place in November, one took place in December, and the third one actually took place a few months ago in February, you guys. So they must have taken vacation in January. They said they needed a break because it was getting too crazy, but there were a total of 3. Chloe, would it have been the same people in the grand jury, or would it have been just a completely different crowd? Now, I mean, when they mentioned 3, I'm under the assumption that there's 3 different groups. What do we know? What do we know?
Case of this 21-year-old singer, but there was no grand jury indictment, right? There was no formal charges. No, instead, at the beginning of this week, the Los Angeles County District Attorney, Nathan Hochman, his office filed first-degree murder, continuous sexual abuse of a child under 14, and unlawful mutilation of human remains charges against David in connection with the death of Celeste.
And the
Remember,
baby
her
oil.
decomposed and dismembered body was reportedly found September 8th, 2025 in the trunk of a car allegedly registered to David, real name David Anthony Burke. And he's also facing special circumstances allegations, right? Lying in wait, killing for financial gain, killing of a witness, using a sharp even though there is a moratorium on executions in California. But this is why it's so significant, why the prosecution believes they have evidence to prove that. And the main idea here is essentially that David allegedly killed Celeste because she was going to expose him potentially about their illegal underage sexual relationship. I think that's the fair argument, and that this was going to affect his career, which was on the rise. Remember, he was on tour when all of this happened. Now, as we learned yesterday, when the autopsy report was released, that Celeste's official cause of death.
Yo, really quick, you guys. When we started our show, we were we just hit like 1,900 subs, and we're already up to like 1,920, which is crazy because yes, we are on the road to 2,000, and we're already at 1,920. So to all the new subscribers that just subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate it. You guys are amazing. Thank you. I just wanted to give you guys a shout out to all the new members of the channel. So thank you. And then we'll probably give some memberships out later tonight. So y'all can be a part of the inner circle, y'all.
Was multiple penetrating injuries, and her manner of death was listed as homicide. We did a whole sidebar yesterday with forensics examiner Dr. Mary Jimbelik. It's up on YouTube right now, up on our Long Crime YouTube. You can watch the whole thing. Oh, and by the way, the full autopsy report, if you want to go through the details, if you want to see it for yourself, it's up on our app, Law and Crime Plus, as well, if you want to check it out. I actually think it's significant that we're putting these case files on the app because, look, unfortunately, in today's day and age, there's a lot of misinformation. There are a lot of AI tools someone can use to make fake reports or fake information. This is the official released autopsy report. It's up on Law and Crime Plus, so you can check it out there. But bottom line, David was charged by the DA's office, but in order for this to move forward, in order for this to go to a trial,
you know what, Leah, you're right? They already found tons of CP on his phone. Can you imagine what else he has on there? I mean, not only that, but what other evidence do they have besides? And I'm assuming they don't have any video. I don't know if I would say surprise, right? Because I wouldn't be surprised if this sicko, this maniac, this little kid actually filmed it too, right? Because there was a blind item that came out yesterday, and I'm going to have to find that. There was, let me see really quick. They're going to start playing all these videos really quick. But there was a blind item that came out. Let me just go to my profile. Let me just see this. There was a blind item that came out or came out in October. It was blind items that were revealed, and this was blind item number 4. And it said the Dead in the Frunk rapper bragged about how he has hundreds of hours of CP he has recorded with underage girls. Now, this blind item was posted way back in October, you guys. This was a month at, not even, about a little less than a month after Celeste's body was discovered in the front trunk of his Tesla. And come to find out on 4/23, on the 1-year anniversary, that this blind item was actually true. That part is crazy. It's really, really just crazy to hear. And there are a ton of blind items that have come out. So I'm really curious to know if any of those other blind items hold any truth, because some of those blind items are crazy.
there has to be a legal determination that there is sufficient probable cause that David committed these crimes to move forward with this case. Again, lower standard. And if it's not by a grand jury, then it needs to be by a judge at a preliminary hearing. And by the way, preliminary hearing is a little bit different than a grand jury because grand jury proceedings are secret. The defense doesn't have an opportunity to challenge that evidence. Preliminary hearing in court, in front of a judge, defense there. They get an opportunity to fight back against this. But anyway, brings us to today. This courthouse in downtown LA. By the way, just talking about a preliminary hearing for a second, David's attorneys, his defense attorneys, pushed for a preliminary hearing immediately. They have said that he didn't commit this murder. They have said that he was not the cause of her death. But what happened today? Now, look, there were no cameras in the courtroom. The good news, we have our own eyes and ears, okay? We have our own eyes and ears. Attorney and legal analyst Dina Dahl was in that court.
They said that David was not the cause of Celeste's death. And I tell them,
stop the cap.
That allegedly, we all think that David did it, right?
Allegedly.
Courtroom. So good to see you, Dina. Thanks for taking the time. First of all, I need you to clarify what this hearing was, because I think a lot of us thought this was going to be the preliminary hearing. We thought that was on the calendar. that was not the case, even though they did talk about when the preliminary hearing is going to be scheduled, right?
It is First Liberties podcast. It is.
Absolutely. It was calendared as a preliminary hearing, but the judge at the outset said, I'm sure that's not actually going to start today. Let's talk about it. And that's exactly what they did, scheduling it. And most importantly, talking about the discovery, the transferring of what seems to be a mountain of evidence from the prosecution to the defense and the logistics of how that's going to happen.
And I want to get into that because quite the headline, what was allegedly found on either David's phone or his devices, which we'll get to. But the preliminary hearing is scheduled for next week, right? And is this because there's just, like you said, there's so much evidence to go through, there's so much data to go through?
Well, this is significant. They have not waived their right to a speedy preliminary hearing. The very last day it could be under.
Yeah, you know what? It is funny, right? Because the wording by her is very odd and very specific. It makes me wonder if they are going to point the finger at somebody else, right? We know that Neo has flipped on, he's rolled on David. We don't know if Rob Morgenroth has rolled on David, but we do know that they both testified, and we do know that Neo spent 30 to 45 minutes testifying in front of the grand jury. We know that Rob Morgenroth testified for 3.5 days, 3 days. We don't know if Asia has. I can tell you now, right? I can tell you now, confirmed by Steve Fisher, he has testified in the grand jury, not once, but Steve Fisher has testified in the grand jury twice, right? And you guys will hear a little bit more about that. You'll hear him say it himself. So we'll definitely show that to you. We'll watch that after this video. But I don't know. Do you think that the defense is going to go on a smear campaign and point the finger right back at somebody who could have been close to David? I think that with that specific wording, that the evidence will show that David did it, that David is not the cause of death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. I think that they are definitely going to try to turn this around, and they are about to destroy the image of anybody who testifies, especially people who have been close to David. That's going to be my prediction, but we will have to wait and see, especially if this goes to trial. We're just going to have to wait.
Law was May 4th, but the judge said, I don't like to schedule it that last day because there could be unexpected circumstances just with the court system in general. So they have scheduled it for May 1st, but significantly, they will all be back in front of the judge the afternoon of April 29th in order for the defense to determine whether or not the prosecution has handed over enough evidence where they think they can properly defend their client at the hearing. The judge making a point that although statutory law requires the prosecution to hand over everything prior to trial, they are not required to do that for a preliminary hearing. They just have to hand over sufficient evidence that is most favorable to the defendant.
Ash, I swear to God, if this is his defense, if he says David did not do it, it was Itami. Oh shit, this is about to play out and everything's gonna be stupid. No, I'm not buying it.
In order to prove probable cause. So that afternoon of April 29th, the defense will determine if they think they have enough evidence to continue with this speedy preliminary hearing.
Dina, let me ask you this. The autopsy report that came out yesterday, is that a reason why we didn't have a preliminary hearing today? Did they talk about that? Because there's a lot in that report. That's the official cause of death. We know the defense has said that David is not the cause of death. Did that come up today?
It's
funny that they put this picture up there, right? You guys know that even his brother put out a statement. Type a 1 in the chat if you guys were already aware that Caleb put out a statement. Put a 2 in the chat if you had no idea that he put out a statement today. Because I'm going to show it to you guys in a minute. Let me see what y'all say. Okay, so some of you guys are already aware. Okay, so everybody knows that Caleb has spoken up. Rach is a number 2. Okay, Jess also says 2. Boy, oh boy, Caleb should have testified, my boy. What were you waiting for? You got that subpoena, right? But he's finally speaking out.
Did not come up, as they really spoke about the fact that they have a wide range of evidence that the defense has not getting. Specifically, they actually highlighted the fact that they have this significant amount of child pornography on his iPhone, but they did not get into the specifics of the medical examiner's report.
Okay, so talk to me about the big bombshell. Apparently, they found what, or allegedly found what, on David's devices?
So
so for those of you guys who did put it 2 really quick, we'll just show you exactly what he said. So last night around 8 p.m. Pacific time, Caleb went on Instagram, and I just checked right now. I just looked at his profile, and the post is actually still up right now. So this is what he put. Let me just make sure that this was on his Instagram stories, and currently 23 hours ago, it is still there. So he basically put up that all PD files and rappers should die, period. Obviously, he didn't say rappers, but y'all can read. You guys can read. Is this a cryptic message to his brother? Or does Caleb have some sort of trauma that he may have experienced before in the past? We don't know, right? There's no context to his post. So this is going to, I'm shocked. I was really shocked to see this last night. Crazy to find out. Whoops, hold on. No, that's not what I wanted. Let's go back here.
Said the words, the prosecution said a significant amount of child pornography. And she raised this saying it is going to be different. You cannot hand over that type of evidence to the defense as you would the rest of the evidence. The defense has to instead have somebody, a counsel or an expert, go to the county and actually look at a determined computer to look at this because of the sensitive nature of that evidence. The prosecution also highlighting the amount of this evidence and the evidence on the data and the cell phone in general because of the difficulty and how long it takes to hand and transfer over this kind of amount of evidence.
Okay, put your legal cap on. Are we talking potential federal charges? You and I both know that if someone is caught with allegedly child sexual abuse material on their devices, that could be federal charges.
That's a really great point. And it's very possible federal charges may come.
If I'm not mistaken, I think the sister might be right around maybe a year or 2 younger than Celeste. Not she's probably like around, I don't know. Could be 10 or 11. I don't know. I'll double check. Let me look this up.
At this point, though, it definitely is relevant and probative to one of the 3 charges. There are 3 charges against him: murder, continuous child sex abuse, and mutilation of a corpse. So
Okay, so David had a post that he put up about 2 years ago and said that he was celebrating his sister's 6th birthday. So let's go ahead and take a look at this really quick, just so you guys can see. No, we're not listening to his music. So she was 6 years old in this, and this was posted about 2 years ago. So she's about 8 or 9 right now.
specific child pornography evidence is definitely going to be used by prosecution for that continuous child sexual abuse. But whether or not the federal prosecutors decide to add charges, we will wait and see.
Just want to clarify, any idea who was portrayed in these You know,
And if this case gets picked up and federal charges are dropped on your boy, absolutely means there are absolutely no cameras whatsoever. So, I mean, I think we're okay with that, right? We're all definitely fine with that.
this footage, these videos, this data on his phone, is it Celeste? Is it someone else? Did prosecutors acknowledge that? And let me be clear, allegedly on his phone. Did they say the identity of this person or persons?
They did not say the identity, but even that specific phrase, you know, the press, there was a ton of press in the courtroom. Everybody had their laptops out taking notes, and you just heard the chatter of the typing. Just the phrase significant amount of child pornography was enough to raise flags about what may become in this trial.
What about, I read there was something about a wiretap and search warrants.
Exactly. They said that there was also 3 different investigative grand juries, one convened in November, one in December, and one in February. The prosecution really trying to convey to the judge how much evidence they have and the difficulty.
And really quick, you guys, the child pornography, right? CP is a very old school terminology. It's old terminology, right? And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the term was changed. But let me make sure that I get this right. By the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Right? Yes, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They have kind of updated the term, and the reason why is because pornography is kind of like a consensual entertainment between adults, right? And as you guys know, children cannot consent to sex, so they've basically upgraded the term to child sexual abuse material. In other words, to simply put it.
Of it to be able to be transferred to the defense that quickly. They did say, however, that they plan on handing the defense tomorrow arrest records, photographic evidence, chemical evidence reports, and DNA evidence reports.
Wait a second. Let's just take a step back here. We were debating whether or not there was a grand jury that was going to be investigating this case, right? Locking in witness testimony, gathering evidence, that they didn't have the power to indict. That was one thing. Now we're learning there were multiple grand juries that were all in this investigative function. Not one of them had the power to indict.
That's what came out today. The prosecution said specifically investigative grand juries without the power to indict. And they said it was up to the defense to request that these records be unsealed.
And the latest grand jury was what, February?
That's what they said. February was the latest one.
What was the vibe in that courtroom? Let's start here. What did David look like?
So when David came in, he was in his orange jumpsuit. He sat down. His attorney, Blair Book, on his shoulder. He vigorously nodded even every time the judge referred to him. If he asked her a question, he answered in the affirmative. At the very end, when she was explaining the process of how he's going to be brought back to the hearing and how he may have to wait but make sure he's on time, he folded his hands in a prayer position. But otherwise, he was just quietly listening to the proceedings and listening to his lawyers speak on his behalf.
And what about for the prosecution? Who was there?
The prosecution, they had their attorneys. Interestingly, there were 2 young girls sitting next to the investigators. They were not referenced. They were not conferred with. We know that the Hernandez family said in advance they did not plan on attending the hearing. So it's unclear who those girls were.
I just...
Wait, hold on. Let me, I need to go back really quick because they talked about the 2 minors.
There were 2 young girls sitting next to the investigators. They were not referenced. They were not.
They were sitting next to the investigators. That I did not know.
conferred with. We know that the Hernandez family said in advance they did not plan on attending the hearing. So it's unclear who those girls were.
I just want to be clear about something. There have been rumors, there has been speculation that David has allegedly hasn't been charged, but allegedly maybe been involved with other minors. Is there anything to indicate that those, and I want to make sure your terminology is correct. You're saying there were children, they're not women, they appear to be children were there. Is that somehow connected to other people that might allegedly be in David's orbit?
You do wonder, they looked, I mean, of course, I did not have their identification, but they looked young. I would say in that range of what Celeste was, 13, 14, 15. Definitely they looked less than 18.
And so was there anybody there for Celeste's side, as far as you can tell?
I could not tell if there was, and there was an announcement by the family that they were not planning on.
She's referring to all the YouTubers and the live streamers because there were a lot of them, right? Wait, you said I was muted? Can y'all hear me? Put a 1 in the chat if you guys can hear me. Let me know, because I'm not muted. At least I don't see anything here that says I'm muted. Let me know. Let me know. Okay, so you guys can't hear me. I see some 1s. Ooh, y'all scared me. Because, you know, I'm a noob. We do be making those mistakes.
We consider her
All right, y'all. I thought y'all liked that photo of David. My bad.
denial of allowing cameras in the courtroom, reiterating that the judges here seem to have kind of learned the lesson after the OJ case to not allow cameras, and that after so many years, perhaps the OJ.
You guys were able to hear the video though, right? Okay, just making sure. Sorry, I'm watching on like 3 different monitors, so the video was playing and I forgot to switch it over to switch off David's photo. My bad.
Case afraid of letting in cameras needs to go away, and saying how the public pays for this building and should allow cameras in, but the judge denied it. There will not be cameras allowed in this next hearing or if a trial moves forward.
Wow, no cameras in the preliminary hearing. I personally think that's a mistake, particularly in a case like this, since there's so much speculation, so much rumors. This is a front row to seeing what the evidence is, what evidence the prosecution believes they have. Do they have sufficient probable cause to support these charges? I think that this is one of those cases where the public has a right to view and should view what the evidence is. Which, by the way, let me go back to you, Dean, on this. This is both a legal question for you and a reporter question.
Cha-ching, that's a very good question. I think people can't help but associate people who are very close to his inner circle as being involved, whether or not they were, right? I think when this case blew up and people just migrated to his social media and they seen anybody in a photo, right? And we're going to show you a video very shortly after this of somebody else who was accused of being part of his entourage. And that was one of the actors in his music video. she came out today and put out a video that basically said she ain't got shit to do with David. And she basically voiced her opinion.
I have been curious.
And she didn't do anything.
After I heard Nathan Hochman the other day, what is the evidence they have to prove lying in wait, that he allegedly killed Celeste because she was a witness to a case or an investigation, that he allegedly killed her for financial gain? The basic idea here is she was going to allegedly expose him for this illegal sexual relationship, right? Did you get any sense today about what that evidence will be?
No.
And Enforcer, right? You're right. They were and still are ripping her to shreds on Reddit. I think, I don't know. I don't think it was a great idea for her to come forward and post on Reddit. That post on Reddit followed a live stream that she did on Twitch. Everybody was watching. Everybody was waiting. I got banned from her room. I think every streamer who was watching her, besides one person, got banned from her room. And not once did she, acknowledge the entire situation. She played, who was it? Was it A$AP Rocky's new album? Somebody's new album. It was like a listening party. And not once did she mention anything. The only thing she did say was that Sakura is a bitch, right? Like, I don't know. I just really think that decision for her to come on live and stream was stupid. It really was stupid, right? There was no point, especially if you were not going to come on and acknowledge the whole entire situation, whether you're speaking up for David or speaking out against him.
And I'm glad you brought up that point, because to me,
808, were you here last night when we were watching, when we were streaming, when we showed that video on the 4th of July? She was the girl who was eating tacos in the bathroom. The one who said that she took a shit in his bathroom.
that is, in a way, a very strange motive. Because here the prosecution is alleging that he killed her in order to cover up the crime of his child sex abuse. But yet he kept the body in his car for months. So he did a very bad job of then disposing of the evidence.
And Cha-Ching, thank you for that, because that's a better explanation of who Sakura is in general, right? She is a streamer. She did date Jason Lewine. They recently broke up and yada, yada, yada. I don't think she's relevant in this situation. I do, however, wonder if she testified in that grand jury, though.
You would say the prosecution needs to explain something like that. But what we did here today is, in this digital age, there is a mountain of digital evidence. Obviously, with 3 grand juries, they have quite a bit of witness testimony. They have the wiretap evidence, which we didn't know about that. And it appears they have DNA, chemical, sure, video surveillance. But that theory of the case strikes me as very strange as an attorney. And perhaps the prosecution has an explanation. I mean, the prosecution said today that, quote, we're ready to go to trial. They would be happy for the defense to waive their right to a speedy trial. But they do have to explain that contradiction in the motive and the lack of disposing of the evidence.
Let me follow up on something. We don't know for sure that her dismembered, decomposed body was in the car from April to September, right? Did you learn something different?
No, we do not. It's more of that. You and I talk about a lot of true crime cases. You would, if the idea is that somebody is trying to cover up another crime and goes to such lengths as to commit murder, you would think they would do a better job of disposing of the evidence and the murder crime.
Let me ask you this. Anything about potential cooperating witnesses? Did any specific names come up? You talk about the connective tissue. There have always been a lot of players that have come up in this case, allegations about who might have testified in front of a grand jury or a hearing. Did you hear any name, any potential cooperating witness?
We heard no names whatsoever. And in fact, the prosecution did not give a glimmer as to what happened in that grand jury, saying this is secret. It could only be unsealed by a motion from the defense.
Okay, interesting for a status conference here. I'm very curious to see what happens with the preliminary hearing. Before I let you go, any idea of where the defense is going? When they say he's not the cause of death, do they have an idea that they're going to be introducing their own forensic expert, or they're going to be casting doubt on that? Perhaps she didn't die from multiple penetrating injuries, that it was caused by something else, or is this too early?
It was too early. They really were focusing on basically telling the judge they didn't have.
They were kerfuffled. That's basically all you can say, right? When Beth Silverman did her little hair flip, she knew that she had it in the bag, right? She basically told Blair Berg this is going to be Monica Cementelli Part 2, right? I don't know. What do you guys think?
Enough evidence that their defendant, because he was waiving his right to a speedy preliminary trial, had a right to receive some evidence, and they really hadn't received enough from the prosecution. That was really what they were asking for the judge. The judge being sympathetic, the prosecution saying they're planning on cooperate. They're going to meet at the end of April 29th, determine if they have enough. If the preliminary hearing goes forward, prosecution says they expect it to last about 4 to 5 days.
Okay, interesting. All right. We shall see. Dina Dahl, thank you.
Guys, do me a favor. If you guys haven't already, can you smash that like button? We're at 87 likes on my end. I was wondering, can we get it up to 100? I normally don't ask for this kind of stuff, but if you guys can do me a solid and hit that like button, get us up to 100 likes, you guys. Please.
For coming in. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for covering for us.
Thanks for having me.
And that's
right. So that was Dina Dahl and Jesse Weber on Law and Crime. And so they did mention 2 minors that were at the courthouse. However, I do want to bring your attention to 2 posts that were out on Reddit, and 2, I'm not even going to say possible victims. 2 victims have come and spoken out publicly, although their identities have been made private for the protection and safety of them. I don't even know which number this victim is. But if you guys remember, there was a song that came out that David wrote lyrics to, and this was out on Reddit. I don't remember the song, but every first letter of each line of the lyrics started with a letter of this girl's name, right? So here's the post. This came out 6 hours ago. She made a post on Reddit and she said, "Hi, Kira here. I posted last year about having known David. However, I deleted it from some backlash I had received due to it overwhelming me." Now, if you guys want to see who this person is, we did a live on this a few months ago, right? I'm not going to show her photo now. However, her photo is public. You guys will just have to kind of scroll through my lives to find out which one it is. But she basically put a post out. This is actually really long. Put a 1 in the chat if you guys want me to read the entire post from her. But this is one victim that came out. And it says here on Reddit, the mods of this Reddit sub, they basically said, "Everybody be kind. She does not deserve to be attacked. She has also been verified 100% by the mods as genuinely her. Questions allowed. Whether you get the answer you want is up to the victim." Okay, so you guys want me to read it? Okay, we can do that. So here it says, "Prayers to her family. I used to be close friends with David, and we dated when I was 16 and he was 18. We've seen each other in real life 2 times max, and there was so much more. But he introduced me to a religion and whatnot. So I'm shaken up by the fact that he could have done this. I remember a Celeste and have a pic of them together that I've seen in the past." And so she continued to write, "You might know me from this comment I deleted last year that circulated on X a little, or from my post I deleted here after someone I knew had leaked David's breakup text he sent me. I'm sure most people don't, though. I don't really want to refer to myself as a victim." Okay. "David only showed me the good side of him. Even on his birthday this year. So as early as March 28th of 2026, this person had been in contact with David. Wow. When I tried to discreetly encourage him to repent and help truths be found, and he had replied thanking me for my words of encouragement. So I'm really disturbed by everything coming out, and it's made me dissociate a lot. I want to give my opinion on some things as someone who's personally known David at one point, because everyone only really perceives him through his public image and can only really theorize on the kind of person he was. I commented my opinion on a post, but the post has been deleted. This is what she said. Curiosity is understandable, but nitpicking only leads to more and more theories and energy wasted. He is someone who does not even deserve being seen as someone more complex than a disgusting person masked with a facade of being deep and well-spoken. He is just good at using words. He was chronically online and bound to be. It makes him seem smart, but clearly he was not. Hold on, I gotta make this bigger. My eyes they're getting old. Let me see. It makes him seem a lot smarter, but clearly he was not, and that was the image he wanted to be seen as glorified himself for. He thought he was above everyone and even the law, but he will find out that he is not. He can repent and use religion all he wants to comfort any feeling of guilt he has, but at the end of the day, he's pleading not guilty for everything. Satan knew God's words too. It's astonishing how he could live with himself after all of this, and even if somehow he didn't do it, but let's be so for real, he still talked to and groomed a minor, and how can he even live with that? Then he made it seem like he would be someone completely against any bad, doing toy drives for Christmas on the David Foundation on Instagram while being a PDF himself. So crazy for me to only have known the good side of him, and I honestly need therapy, for which I have never felt the need for ever before this, but this is so terrible. Y'all still with me? Type a 1 in the chat if you guys are still with me. Don't be fooled by someone's public image and social media, usually teams that make up captions on Instagram stories. I also think it's weird how many people kind of sensationalize things. And the videos with the thumbnails of David and Celeste, and the TikToks with David's music about Celeste just feels distasteful. Real journalists and people with good intentions would carefully craft their videos and make sure not to do anything for more views. If the video is extremely well made and informative, it would be shared as a good source to know what's going on with this case, but it feels like a lot of people aren't doing that. People made videos about me being an ex-girlfriend of his, and I've seen them and ask things in the comments like, do you think Kira is convincing herself that he is not guilty, etc.? And it's so weird. It's just like, maybe contact me and ask me instead of leading to speculation that I'm somehow a bad person or weird for not being able to process anything. This is just my take about the rabbit hole of people saying that he was very calculated, because if he was this insanely smart, detailed-oriented person, that this wouldn't have happened to him, and he would never even to think to do such a thing to Celeste. For example, we should focus on the facts such as the CSAM, etc., instead of focusing on theories like, do you think he used actual blood on the shirt he made? Okay, so she's striking that theory down, right, etc. That just don't really make any sense. This is just my take on it, so please do not attack me as someone who was in denial about the kind of person he's being exposed to be. I fully believe that he is a bad person now, and hope that anyone excusing or denying his actions can wake up. Ex-girlfriend. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts? Thoughts? Wow, just wow, right? Not only did she speak out, but also another victim has spoken out. And this one, has been kind of kept out of the public eye for a very long time. And very surprised to hear this victim speak up. This one says, victim number 3 here Listen up, please. This is victim number 3. And for those saying that I did not go to the authorities, that's the first thing that I did. Like, are you guys serious? Obviously, I went to the authorities because I'm involved in this. Your comments are insensitive and rude. I went through so much, so you guys need to calm down and realize the victims went through so much. I know there are other girls out there like me. I had a strong relationship with David, and all the news that came out brought everything horrible back to me. I want to be able to live my life without being with the David case, and I'm doing everything that I possibly can to help this case. This is exactly why I haven't come to show my face to the media, because you are all like this. Be kind to those who are suffering through this. I've done everything possible. David is not a good person, and I am lucky to be here. That is all, and thank you. She says they dated 24-25. Marissa, which victim? The first one or the second one? Miss Dizzle, I don't know if you missed it, but we showed a video earlier where he was basically, admitting that he had some mental health issues. So not only did prior victims of David speak out, we also had another person who was in one of his music videos come and speak out and basically saying the same thing. She was not a victim of David, but she did play his girlfriend in one of his music videos. So this is what she had.
My name is Cassidy.
This is Cassidy Clark. She was in one of his music videos. I forget which music video it was. Anybody in the chat remember? If you guys remember, please drop that reminder for us so we know, because I'm not entirely sure which music video it was. I just forgot. He's definitely not currently on suicide watch, so this guy, he thinks he might beat this case. How do you guys feel about this?
Clark, I was in the Here With Me music video when I was...
Okay, so Here With Me, and that's one of his biggest songs, right? So this girl definitely has a familiar face. Let me see if I can pull up a photo. Let me see. Let me just see if I can get this photo over here. You guys may remember her from this video right here. So this is her. Oops, hold on. This is her right here in the Here With Me video. All right, let's play her video.
Hey everyone, my name is Cassidy Clark. I was in the Here With Me music video when I was 18 years old, and I'm going to talk about it. I submitted for the job via casting networks, and I got casted. It was a 12-hour shoot, very low pay, non-union job. I met David's whole family. His whole family was there because he was a minor at the time. I was 18, he was 17, and when you're a minor working on set, you have to have your one guardian present, but his whole family was there. I met his younger sister, who is probably now around the same age as Celeste would be, and he has a younger brother as well. During the shoot, I played his girlfriend, and that was that. We followed each other on Instagram just for the sake of, oh, you shot with me for 12 hours. We might as well follow each other on Instagram. We honestly didn't really get along that well. I would say I'm pretty outgoing, and we just really didn't click. If anything, I felt like I was kind of bickering with him, but that's besides the point. The reason why I'm making this video is because I've gotten quite a few messages of people asking me if I have anything to do with this, if I know what's going on. And I just wanted to put an end to it. I do not associate with David by any means. I'm an actor. I literally have nothing to do with him. I did it for a job. I did it for a check. I didn't know who David was. I don't follow him on Instagram anymore. I'm going to remove him as a follower. And I think that he deserves even more than what's happening to him right now. He's a monster. Yikes. And I do not associate with him by any means. I'm not making this video to make this about me. I'm making this video to put an end to my association with David. Like I said, I've been getting countless amount of messages, comments, stuff like that. I know this video is going to get the same thing, but at least I'm saying I don't associate with David, and all justice to Celeste Rivas and her family. I don't.
Excuse me, guys. I have to like burp. But I just dropped in 10 gifted memberships to, I don't know, 10 beautiful people. So if you guys received a gifted membership, welcome to the inner circle, you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. For those of you guys who are new members, we do have a Discord. It is a members only. And if you weren't gifted a membership, we do have very affordable memberships starting at 99 cents. So if you want to consider joining the membership or joining the inner circle, we do have a Discord, and once you're a member, go to my community wall, check the post. There's a Discord link there. All you got to do is click that link, and I'm telling you, these conversations that we have, they go on like 24/7. And it's not like other people's Discord where the content creators not active. You will see me participate in conversations on a daily basis. You can ask any member that's in the inner circle how active it gets in the chat. So if you guys want to join the inner circle, very affordable, but all the new members, welcome to the inner circle. Let's keep going, you guys. The next video I want to show you is a video of SF Investigates. SF Investigates was on a panel today, and he did an interview with Gideon. I found it a little strange that, you know, he was on this show, but I hear it was very good. Somebody even said that it was one of the best interviews that he's done. So hopefully we can learn something here. And for those of you guys that are very new to this case, maybe we'll learn something, you know, maybe you guys can learn something that you guys maybe didn't know. But let's go ahead and check out Gideon and SF Investigates interview. This actually took place, I want to say 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock. So this was very recent. This took place very early this afternoon. Let me just exit out that chat.
Hey, Mr. Fisher, I really do appreciate you coming on my show today.
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, call me Steve. I appreciate, you know, having me and what you do. As far as yeah, I'm a missing persons private investigator. I only do missing persons cases, and I'm also very involved in search and rescue. And I got involved in the case with Celeste.
Always.
It's kind of a weird turn of events. I had a case going on in LA at the same time, and when they announced that a unidentified body had been found in Tesla, we thought it might be the person that the case I was working at that time, and obviously it wasn't. But through that, there was a couple of news interviews and stuff, and through that, the owner of the house that David was staying at, and you know where you know Celeste had visited him and whatnot, got in contact with me, and because he didn't rent the house to David, he rented it to his management, his manager.
So the house was rented out through his manager. But
I put a 1 in the chat if you guys want to see SF on this show on filling in the gaps. That would be pretty cool if we can get SF. Should we try to get Steve on the show?
David was the primary person staying there.
Yeah, well, the owner of the house, or the owners, the husband and wife, had no idea who David was. The lease says it's for the exclusive use of Josh Marshall, his manager. So they had no idea that they didn't know. First of all, they didn't know who the singer David was, and they live out of state, and they didn't know that somebody else was living there. So this, all of a sudden, their house is involved in a search warrant and all this. You know, this tragic event happens to this teen losing her life, and they wanted to understand you know, what had happened, because LAPD wouldn't give them any answers, and so that's kind of how I got involved.
So Celeste's family never got in touch with you to like find her before. The only reason why you got involved was because the owners of the house had cops coming through their house investigating stuff, and they just didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, no, I've never been in touch with her family. I've tried. I don't.
And that's totally fine, Cha-Ching, right? He won't tell me who drove the Tesla. That's totally fine. To be honest with you, I don't even know if who drove the Tesla is relevant in this case anymore, right? But I don't know. I feel like you give it about a week or so, I feel like SF is going to start dropping a lot more breadcrumbs.
I want to push them hard though, so I haven't really followed up more. But yeah, so the owners were very. It's never had anything to do with value of the house or loss of value or anything. It's had to do with they wanted to understand what happened there because they have kids around that age and they wanted to know if like on like even a spiritual level if they could go back in that house. It was really hard for them to fathom. If it happened there, or even in fact even if it didn't happen there, just the fact that it's tied to it, they have some real decisions to make. As far as it's you can only imagine, especially when.
If we are ever granted the opportunity to have SF, what I'd probably do is have you guys submit questions that you guys do want to ask. And obviously I would have to filter out through them to see if they are, valid questions that we can ask. Obviously, we're not going to poke and prod to get answers that only law enforcement has. But, if there's questions that we can ask them, I'd love to ask them some of the questions that you guys have.
You can't get any answers from LAPD. LAPD didn't even leave a copy of the search warrant, which they're supposed to do, behind. So it was really, he's just like, and they're from out of the country, and so they don't really understand the laws and everything. They understand them, but they don't have a deep dive into them. And so they said, listen, we want to find out what happened, but within a very short amount of time, within a couple of days, it turned more to, so we got to find out, like, if there's.
I think that's going to be the very first question we ask them. So, Steve, who drove the Tesla? Does it rhyme with Tio or Cobb? Or Blasia?
If there's anything that's been missed or anything we can do to assist to make sure, find out exactly what happened, because at that time there was still a lot of talk going around of, well, the car, was reported stolen and stuff, which we find out, that was never true, but they wanted to know what the truth was. And they wanted to make sure that Celeste, got justice if she needed to get justice. Because remember, at that time too, they're telling us there might not be any crime here beyond concealment of a body, which was never true. I don't know why LAPD came out and said that, but they were making it sound like this might have been like an overdose or something, and they made a bad decision. There was nothing like that. It was never anything like that. This was a guy who's a predator, and I don't know why it took this long to get where we're at. I'm glad there's finally appears justice is coming, but as far as I'm concerned, it's taken too long, and it doesn't seem like there was this real urge. It wasn't like this. There wasn't maybe the
sense of urgency.
Yes, exactly.
So the house that David was renting at, that the owners hired you, Celeste has been to that house, correct?
She has, yeah.
Was that the house that
okay, so SF is confirming that Celeste has actually been to the mansion, and this is not something that I have known to be confirmed. We do know that she was at the 804 house on Doheny, right? This was known as the streaming house, but SF is confirming that Celeste has been to the mansion.
They're presuming that all of this went down at.
So it's the house that when they say she was lured to, that's the house. We don't know exactly where it happened. We're trying to, I can tell you we've done a lot of investigation at the house trying to find out long before we even knew any of this information, this new information. We can't find an obvious, I'll tell you this, we don't know exactly where.
So Summer, you said completely understand what the owner of the house by spiritual views. I wouldn't want to live in that house that someone was murdered in, right? I mean, if some of you guys don't know, that house just went back up for lease. And not only was it once rented for $20,000, it is now going for $23,000 a month, right? So it does not look like the owner is going to be selling the property. That property before David hold a lot of historical value. It was once owned by Halle Berry, right? So it's a celebrity home, right? The question is who's going to live there next?
It happened, and we're trying to figure that out, and we're also trying to find out where the murder weapons may be, and not only the murder weapon but also the dismemberment.
Keyworld asks, how far is the house from each other? You're talking about so actually we did a live on this, I want to say on Monday, the day that they had the very first court hearing. We went to all three properties. We visited the house that he was arrested at. We visited the mansion, and we also went to the 804 property. So in regards to the distance between them two, it was a 2-minute car ride from the mansion to 804. So approximately like 0.8 miles away. It was not far at all.
Tools that were used.
So you given access after all of this started coming out, like was David still tied to that house?
No, so as far as we know, the way it happened was David was on tour.
Shout out to David is guilty. David is guilty. Your subreddit got banned. That is horrible. Well, I hope you still continue to post to Reddit. Don't let that stop you.
Or when this news broke, even of the car being, the initial LAPD initially being called to the tow yard because of a foul smell and flies circling the car. And he was on tour.
Enforcer, is it walking distance? I mean, if you like to walk, right? It's definitely not far. 0.8 miles. I mean, if the average person can walk 0.8 miles, it's not far. Would I walk it though? No. I don't like the walk from David's mansion all the way down to like the main street. It's got a lot of like curves and stuff. I mean, it's whatever.
And so it came out that, hey, there's been a body found in a car that's registered to David. They had no idea. Well, the public had no idea that it was Celeste. People in his Discord had a good idea.
Well, and then we do know, right, that on Valentine's Day, David did spend time with Celeste and another victim, right? And one of the victims was at his house, the mansion house, and Celeste was at 804. So this guy could have been going back and forth, or he could have spent more time at one place and then, back to one of the houses, another.
Who it was, though. And so he never came. He continued on with the tour. And it wasn't until they identified her as Celeste, who was a documented missing person out of Lake Elsinore, which is like 80 miles away from LA, that they finally called the tour off. But he just kept plugging away. He never made a comment about it. The only comment they made was his press people said that they were cooperating with LAPD, which they never were, which we come to find out they never were. That was a lie. They just wanted to keep going. And it did keep going. And then when they did call it off, he's never made a comment, and he was never seen in public again. He was in West Hollywood, very close to.
Did he go back to the house that the manager had rented, or did he go?
So from the house that he was arrested in, the one that was on Marmont Avenue, that house, I want to say, was about a 12 to 18 minute drive from arrest house to the mansion, because we visited the arrest house first, then we went to the mansion, then we went to 804. And that drive was probably about maybe 2 miles away. And because of the LA traffic, it took about like 18 minutes to drive from the arrest house to the mansion. But as far as distance wise goes, they weren't far apart. Definitely not walking though. I wouldn't walk those Hollywood streets.
Somewhere else.
It never. So what happened was after after she was identified, they served a search warrant. LAPD served a search warrant on the house the next day. I believe it was September 17th. And after that, his management contacted the owner and basically said they were breaking the lease. You know, they were going to have the movers come the next day, which they did, and they came and they grabbed certain things, but they left a lot behind. And they basically then said, you know, anything that's left behind, just do what you want with. We're out. And he's never seen again. Now we find out that he was in another rental house just a few miles away, 3 or 4 miles away.
Was that other rental house close to where the? So I guess like what a lot of people are kind of confused with, and I was hoping that you could kind of break down better for us, is so the car was reported to be a couple blocks away from his house. That house, it was it the house that the owners that you work with had? Okay, so was that?
Whenever I say the house, I'm talking about my client's house, which is some people call the mansion or whatever. It's the house it's the only house that we were aware of at the time that he was living in. Now there is a house before the lease started, which he did that famous live stream from, the delete everything.
And it's crazy because, you know, for a very long while, SF had never mentioned this home before, despite the public asking him questions about it. So I'm not sure if SF was never aware of the home until maybe recently. But I mean, now he's, you know, he refers to it very often. So who knows?
It's less than that one. That was actually filmed.
So
in
was
a
that
house.
Celeste? So a lot of people say that was the other Celeste in that. So that live stream, that was Celeste in that live stream where
The one where she talks about R-ing kids, and he says delete everything. That's Celeste.
Do you know when that stream had happened?
Yeah, that was gosh, if I remember right, that was like January of 24. That was right before she ran away the first time.
Okay.
Might have the date off by a little bit. So that's, and then right after that is when she starts running away. And she has these series of runaway events, and but it was no secret that she was with him. In fact, somebody close to the situation, her family, the school where she was going, wrote his manager.
Yeah, at first he said he wasn't aware of the house, and then even at one point there was a tweet reply that he had. He even referred to it as like the 408 house. So, you know, people were wondering if he was just kind of like playing dumb or if he truly like didn't know about it. Darling Jess, you're still here. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for being here. We're about an hour and 43 minutes in, and after this SF interview, we're gonna wrap it up and call it a night.
Company and said by email and said, you know, there's something, paraphrasing it, there's a rumor that David might be involved in the disappearance of 13-year-old you know, Celeste Rivas Hernandez. If that's true, please make sure she gets home quickly. And she got home, she arrived the next day, and that email was received by his management company, and they did send it to him. I have proof of that. And he was aware of it. So then she arrives back home, but then
hold on.
she runs.
I'm gonna rewind a little.
And she got home. She arrived the next day, and that email was received by his management company, and they did send it to him. I have proof of that. And he was aware of it. So then she arrives back home, but then
wait. Did he just say David was aware of the email? Hold on, because in an interview that SF did with Lauren Conlon, he basically was saying that email was sent out to Josh Marshall and a family member of his, which we've all assumed it was his wife. But now he's saying that David was aware of the email.
Gets home quickly, and she got home. She arrived the next day, and that email was received by his management company, and they did send it to him. I have proof of that. And he was aware of it. So then she rides back home, but then she runs away again. And so listen, he was grooming her. He's a predator. This is not the only girl that he was involved with. That was underage. When Celeste ran away on Valentine's Day, and she showed up in the area. Oh, this is the exact same day that they're actually taking possession of the new house that they rented, my client's house.
Yes, sir.
Of course, my client doesn't. My client thinks it's Josh Marshall, his manager, but they take possession of it. So on that day, he's got Celeste runs away that day, and she's at the old house, the one where they did that live stream, delete everything, and he's got another minor at the new house, 1.5 miles away. And I've got pictures of that. So, that can be.
This is kind of all new about there being like a new minor. If you can reveal, how old was this other minor that David was dealing with?
She was 16 and 17.
She was 16.
This was going on for a while. I believe it goes back to when she was 16, 17 for sure. But he knew, she was underage, and listen, it's kind of the same MO. It's kind of the preying on those that he can manipulate out of their environment. And there's others. There's another one too. So I mean, and I guarantee you.
Really quick, let me pause that and let me bring you guys over to this, just in regards to what SF was telling Lauren Conlin regarding that email. Let's see.
They knew about David or whatever, and somebody. So there's like a language barrier with the mom does not speak English, and the dad.
And this interview was September 26, 2025. So this was days after Celeste Rivas was identified.
Is not in the country, and so somebody was helping them. Somebody is very close to the family and like Elsinore and knows all of them, and wrote a letter kind of on their behalf. And it was an email letter. It was sent to Josh,
and so the person who sent the email, basically what he's saying in this interview is he's basically saying that someone that knows Celeste's family, an adult that knows Celeste's family, they're like family friends, sent the email to Josh.
A family member of Josh and some other people, and
let's see, the email was sent to Josh and a family member
close to the family and like Elsinore and knows all of them, and wrote a letter kind of on their behalf. And it was an email letter. It was sent to Josh and a family member of Josh and some other people, and basically said, we know that she's with him. I don't think they knew the address at the time, but they knew she's with him, and that they included the missing persons flyer. She's a missing person. She's 12 or 13 at that time. And the next I think it was the next day or the day after, she showed up. She just showed up on her own back home.
How did these people know Josh but not David?
It was an adult. It was an adult that just did
a family friend of Celeste.
Somebody that, if you're trying to get a hold of David, I guess you could, and you have any knowledge of the industry and stuff, you could be like, okay, I can look up who his manager is and contact his manager.
All right, let's go back to this one right over here. So there's the explanation.
I mean, I can't guarantee, but
no, I mean, any predator, they're always gonna have multiple victims. Yes,
there's ones that I don't know about.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. I'd be willing to bet. And when I was in court yesterday, when I happened to be looking right at David, he was seated kind of in front of me, and they brought him in an orange jumpsuit, and they sat him down at the table with his lawyers, and they handcuffed him to the table. And I didn't know what was coming out of the prosecutor. And I happened to be looking at him because I was like, man, he looks so different. He does not look like, David, the artist. He looks, he just doesn't look the same. And so I was looking at him, and then they were talking about when discovery, which is all the evidence and stuff, is going to be delivered to his lawyers, and the prosecutor comes out, and I don't want to get you dinged off.
No. It's literally say like you can
say that. Okay,
We
so
catch
she
child
comes out.
predators on this channel, so you could be
Okay.
straight up as possible.
So, as far as, so she comes out and says, Your Honor, one of the biggest issues is that there on his phone, there was a voluminous amount of child porn. And, like the proper word now is CSAM, right? But she went child porn. And then she goes, and because of this child porn, I mean, she said child porn 4 times in a row. It was very intentional. You had to let him know, we know what's up. He just stared straight ahead. He wasn't like, he didn't turn to his lawyer and like, what the hell? He knew, like, I think he knows that.
So when they announced that David had child pornography on his phone, he did not act surprised. He knew. That man knew. Damn, that's crazy.
They got him dead to rights right now. So, but she made it sound like there's a lot on there. So I don't think it's just Celeste. I don't think it's just Celeste and this other minor that I'm talking about. I think that there's going to be a lot that he actually was in communication with, and I think there's going to be probably a lot of that material that he sought out on the internet.
Yes, sir. No. From what you know, obviously it came out that he had CSAM on his phone. It's come out that he's been talking to other minors. So back to the timeline. So I didn't know this. So it was January 2025 when that last year happened, or 2024?
Well, she'd been gone well over a year when this was going down. So she had been. So she started that. I believe that live stream was 2024, January 2024. Then she starts. Then in February, is when then there's runaways, and then getting into around Valentine's Day, she runs away again, and then it's a year. It's well over a year that she's gone before we now know that this happened, according to prosecutors, in April of 2025. So she's gone a very long time. And that's been the whole thing, is piecing this together. Where exactly was she? Because we didn't really have evidence that we had evidence that she had been to the house, but not that she was like living at the house. And David would travel a lot for concerts or whatever, and nobody would stay there. So we're like, where was she in all this time? And then we find out that she wasn't truly a runaway. That's the part that's upsetting to me too, is that her family knew where she was, and she'd shown up for like her cousin's high school graduation. She showed up at a family event. There's a video out there of her arguing with the next door neighbors in the apartment complex next to her house, all while she's supposedly a missing person. And so it's all very frustrating. There's a lot of things, a lot of failures around her. And I understand, listen, she's probably a handful. I get that. But the thing is, she's a kid. And that's part of being a parent, and family and a support system. And, I think she needed direction, she needed like a direction in life.
I'll be right back, you guys.
It's not okay. They knew who he was. And it's just, I don't care how rich he is. I don't care how famous he's becoming. I don't care he's living in a mansion and he can afford to support her. It's not okay. She's 13, 14 years old at this time. It's never okay, so it's, I think people in these prominent positions sometimes get these free passes, and it's just not right.
So in your personal opinion, because what I found interesting about this case is you would think a lot of people close to him would be coming out saying things like, hey, this was weird and stuff like that. But you really haven't been seeing that. Prosecutors are saying that they've gotten people to corroborate. They said they have some people that are more difficult. Do you personally think, or do you know, like, actually that people knew her age and just didn't say anything about it?
100%. Listen, in that Discord of his, there's people that openly talk about it. They're like, hey, Are you still going out with the underage girl? Are you still there talking about Epstein Island? Are you and Celeste going to Epstein Island? Like, it's crazy how open it was. Not a secret, you know. And the people close to him in his orbit, listen, they knew. I mean, there's live streams where not just the one with Celeste, but there's ones where he's talking to these two super young girls on like. I don't know what platform it was, but he's talking to them, and his friend Asia Collins is behind him, and he's laughing about the age of these girls, and he's gooning, and it's just...
All right. I was basically saying that's a video where he's confessing that he's a gooner. He's a gooner.
It's really frustrating because they have not, like, they didn't race forward with information. They waited to the last minute to save themselves. Like, all of a sudden, we find out one of his friend Neo has to be arrested to be brought in front of the grand jury. That's not how it should be. Like, you shouldn't be. I don't care how close you were with this guy. If you got information, we're talking about a child. I mean, there's evidence that he met her, was interacting with her in like a creepy way when she was 12 years old. I mean, it's just not right, and I don't know what's going to take to stop all this. I just see it in so many cases, not only do missing persons and so many out of the CPS system, and people that they're not, they're like forgotten about. You know what I mean? Like, law enforcement's not pursuing these cases.
Wouldn't be having. Celeste probably would, if the circumstances were the exact same. Just David wasn't famous. We
wouldn't know about this case.
We wouldn't know anything about it.
We wouldn't know about this case. And they'd be like, oh, as far as anybody in the public following, they'd be like, oh, she was probably some undocumented. It just to get passed over. It's really sad, and I see it all the time. And the CPS system, these kids that they're open to being lured away because they're in such horrible situations, like in a foster family they're with, where they're being abused and stuff like that. They're like, going with a trafficker is almost a better situation for them. And it's like, we can't, this can't be the system. And then when something like this happens, if there's not a celebrity or not a wealthy person on the other side of it where everybody wants to watch the trial, they're just like, you don't even know these are going on, and these are going on. These cases are happening, and you don't even know it. There's a lot of these cases that just don't have a David attached.
Hey, put a one in the chat if you guys are still here and you guys want to continue to watch this, you guys, because we do. I think we have about like a little less than an hour left on the podcast. If not, we can continue tomorrow. But I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. Let me know. Drop a one in the chat if you guys want to continue to watch. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Y'all want to stay. Okay. We're going to stay.
To them. When it's two unknown people, they're just like, well, they kind of brought it on themselves, which, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, hey, they're not old enough to consent, and then say, well, they kind of, they did it more than once. So they kind of, I'm so sick of that excuse. I mean, I've got cases, like the pin, there's a case on my Twitter. It's the pin story, and this case is really important to me because this 14-year-old girl had these, she was a runaway. She because she had some issues going on, right? But nobody was helping her through those, and said she was just running away. And then these guys were filming her, making her film stuff, and they were selling it on it.
Guys, we're gonna stay. I listen to y'all. We're good. We're good. I just want to check the temp with you guys. So if y'all are good, flow is good. We're gonna keep this thing going.
Instagram, and we got a mountain of this stuff, and we met with the FBI, and the FBI agents sat down with us, and for days we would go to the FBI office every day. And we go through it, and they were like, "We're gonna get these guys," and then we present it to the DA, and they're just like, "Oh, she did it more than a couple times." So we're like, "Okay, but she's 13, just turned 14. These guys are 26." Yeah, but she did seem like she was willing.
Mr. Fisher, genuinely, same thing. We've had cases where we had a dude come to meet a 13 and 11-year-old girl. He said that he was gonna put it in the 13-year-old girl's, 11-year-old behind. Admitted to everything to the cops. He got arrested. He went to he got arrested that day, charged. The DA the next weekend, they dropped all the charges, and we had to bully them. And it's like, you know, and kind of like when I saw that the LAPD arrested him to force the district attorney to finally officially press charges. It's like I understood why they did that, because I deal with
based on my
DAs
emojis.
all the time, and it's like even sometimes when it's given to them on a silver platter. And
Yo, can really quick though, before we continue, I just want to say thank you to all of the new subscribers, you guys. This is probably the most subs that we've had during a live show. You know, earlier when we started, we were at like 1900. We're literally almost like halfway there. We may even be able to hit 2,000 subs tonight. I don't know. We'll see. We're like 60 subs away. So all of the new people that join and sub to the channel, I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much. We're about to hit 2,000 subs. So y'all lock in. We're about to hit. We're a small growing channel, you guys. But I appreciate every single one of you guys who are here, who have supported my channel. So let's keep it going.
you have the silverware and everything. They're gonna be like, we can't take it unless we get a beverage with it, you know? And it's just it's absolutely disgusting. One thing I do want to ask, so you posted something I think that is great on your feed where you showed a timeline that you believe what happened, because the prosecutors said, and correct me if I'm mistaken, they believe that the murder happened April 23rd, 2025, right?
Yep. Correct.
So if you can tell me and my audience, can you explain to us why you think they think that was the day she was murdered? And can you explain the timeline of from that day until September 8th when her body was found? Like, do you think that he left her in the Tesla the whole time? Do you think her body was stored somewhere else and he just kept on moving the car? Why do you think he didn't try to dispose of the body? If you can, could you give us that whole timeline and everything? Because I think that was like the best thing anyone's ever put out, where it's
Heather, you're too
something
kind.
we could visually see.
Yeah, in a lot of this, I'm just never going to understand, right? Even like what was going on in his mind. But April 23rd is the day, and the prosecutors, there's two dates that they put out there. April 23rd, they believe is the day she was lured to the house, and then some point shortly after killed with a sharp object, they're saying. And then May 8th.
You just called David one of those chocolate oranges that you get as a gift. And you don't want it, so you regift it to somebody over and over again. And David's about to get regifted. That was funny. David is going to take the L in prison.
Or wait, May 5th. I think it's either the 5th or they have to look at the timeline, to be honest with you, is when they're saying she was dismembered. So you got this gap in time where did he store her? You know, because you're going on a week and a half, and that's really the point of building that timeline. The timeline only focuses on this time period between the April 23rd and in May when he dismembers her. And what we're trying to do is just find out what his movement was, for one, in that time period, and also kind of what his mental state, at least public facing, was. And we've started to compile. Then we learned, well, April 23rd is...
Leave him alone, y'all. Leave him alone. You guys are either going to get this David soon, or you're going to get this one. Y'all pick. Y'all pick which one y'all want next. Oh, shit. Where is it? Where am I at? I'm lost. Y'all pick.
When they announced Wither Tour is happening. He had just gotten done with Coachella a couple days earlier. He's at Coachella, and then they announced the Wither Tour the Withered album is dropping. And so on the 24th, they have so we're talking just hours after he would have killed her, they have a album release party here in LA. On the 25th, he heads out to New York for a 3-day band lab pop-up in New York City. And then he goes from that, he goes to Houston, to his hometown in Houston. He's from a town, it'll come to me in a minute, just outside of Houston. So he comes to flies to Houston.
Sugarland, Pearland.
I'll have to look it up.
Okay. Yeah, you don't have to worry.
Yeah,
I'll find
if you just
from like Hempstead, Texas, or something like that. Hempstead. I think that's where he was at.
Just Google, David, hometown Houston. It'll say, because he owns a couple houses there actually, and so his family lives there. So they
yeah, as a young.
So then he goes to Houston for a couple of days, and so he's moving on. Like I'm talking, he has if prosecutors are correct about the 23rd being the day, and I believe they are, because there's somebody that obviously
Alien head. Alien head.
Go to the party, ready to go to New York. It's not affecting him. Now we do see it's kind of like this, almost like an adrenaline rush. There's all these posts, and he's playing these shows and these pop-ups, but then there's like this crash. He goes somewhat a lot more silent, after the dismemberment. He goes to Seoul, Korea for pop-up, and he's in Malaysia. It's really wild to see that. So yeah, so to get back to your point, so there's the murder and the dismemberment, and that
Mama Flo is asking if y'all can hit the like button. Hit the like button. Mama Flo is asking y'all. So Mama Flo is asking y'all can hit the like.
So our big questions are, where did he murder her? Where did he then store her for those 10 days or so until he dismembered her, 10 days or more, till he dismembered her? And then why does she end up in the Tesla? And why does she stay in the Tesla in his neighborhood? So when I started interviewing with, before we knew all these data points, I was interviewing obviously neighbors, asking for video surveillance and whatnot. And, the people right across the street, directly across the street, and this is a neighborhood with very large houses and big yards and security systems and everything like that. And I was over at the house right across the street, which is owned by a producer, and I was dealing with his estate manager. And
it's funny because last night we were saying, how they keep referring to David as a rapper. I don't know if any of you guys have ever watched Jamie Foxx's I Might Need Security, but this soundbite is so funny. We need to clip this and make this a soundbite that we can have on the show. He's a hardcore rapper, but he's glossy.
Said, we one of the dogs, so the property, it's a big property, and their fence line butts up to the road and then the house David was saying is
not a rapper,
they
for sure.
Right there. So David would often park mostly time park the Tesla
really quick, put a 1 in the chat if you guys have seen David's freestyle, because that is gonna forever be one of my favorite videos of David. Put a 1 in the chat if you have seen David's freestyle. Put a 2 in the chat if you have never seen David's freestyle, because I feel like we might have some new people here. Put a 2 in the chat if you've never seen it. It's like my all-time favorite. Put a 7 in the chat if you guys want to see it.
Their property line, off to the side of the road. So it butted up to their yard. And she said, we started getting this horrible smell. And we had one of the dogs had died, and they had buried the dog in the backyard. And it was like a husky, it was a larger dog. And she's like, anytime it would get over to be like 75, 76, 77 degrees, the backyard would smell horrible.
Yeah, put a 7 in the chat if you guys want to see it. Let me know. I'll pull it up.
She's like, so we thought we didn't bury the dog deep enough. So they were getting ready to unearth this dog and bury it deeper. And then all this happened, and the Tesla went away, and then everything was fine. But
so
that
when
dog
the Tesla got moved, did that smell go away, and was the dog still buried?
All right, I'm gonna show you guys. If you guys have never seen this video, hold on, let me make sure the volume's on. This is David's freestyle, and this one is gonna live in my head rent free, y'all. We're gonna play it one time and one time only, so y'all better listen up. Here it is.
On the pavement, I'ma shoot him where he laying. I'ma shoot him while he down. Make his body hit the ground. I'ma murder all my friends. Call me Melly in the town. I'm not getting indicted. I'm shooting him on sight, and what? You gonna pull up in our town? I'm not getting indicted. I'm shooting him on sight, and what? You gonna pull up in our you gonna pull up and deny it. I'm like testifying in court. Hey, Your Honor, I did not buy it. Deny it. I'm like testifying in court. Hey, Your Honor, I did not buy it. I did not even try it. I just wanted to rely it.
Let's play that one more time. I lied. We're gonna play that one more time.
I'ma shoot him where he laying. I'ma shoot him while he down. Make his body hit the ground. I'ma murder all my friends. Call me Melly in the town. I'm not getting indicted. I'm shooting him on sight, and what? You gonna pull up in our you gonna pull up and deny it. I'm like testifying in court. Hey, Your Honor, I did not buy it. I did not even try it.
That's what he's gonna say, right? With the burn cage. I did not even buy it.
Hey, Your Honor, I did not buy it.
When it comes to the chainsaw, he's gonna say,
I did not buy it.
Your Honor, I did not even buy it.
Hey, Your Honor, I did not buy it.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody get this man the fuck out.
I did not even try it. I just wanted to rely it.
He just wanted to rely it, y'all. Let's give David a round of applause for his freestyle. Psych. That shit out of here.
And yes, and they don't now. They're not thinking like, oh, the Tesla just
Your
went
Honor,
away,
I
and
did
now it
not
doesn't
even
smell.
buy
They
it.
don't know.
Where's Mac Dizzle? Is Mac Dizzle here? This is like her favorite song.
Like why it comes and goes. And it's not until after they find out, oh, there's a body in the trunk of the Tesla. It's like, oh my God, the Tesla was, and they have it on surveillance, of the Tesla coming and going. So at times, so it's like and so if they smell it, then he really can smell it, especially at the house because it's like a multi-story house, and there's live streams that he does where a makeup artist is like, oh, what's that smell, and they just kind of like.
When was these live streams like dated around?
He live streamed from the house a lot, and so it was just like him and his friends, and they're filming something or whatever. There's a makeup
And
artist.
this is the same house that
same house.
So there was
But the
streams
Tesla's
where the
parked out
makeup
front.
artist would complain about a smell from the house.
Yeah, and so what it is most likely is it's coming from the Tesla and just going up through the windows up in the third.
You guys, if you guys were listening last night when we were talking about the Tesla, we were literally watching this video. We were talking about how the Tesla was parked outside of the house and the smell was traveling up into the windows, you guys. I am not making this shit up. We just said this last night, y'all.
Floor, and they're up in the master bedroom's bathroom when this happens, and he blames it on, oh, I went to the bathroom, but it's just the whole thing is so wild. Like,
we even showed pictures. We even showed the reflection of the window in that video. This shit is crazy.
Like the only thing I can't come up. If you dismember somebody, I know you never have. I'm just saying, but if somebody dismembers somebody, you think they'd go ahead and just get rid of them, right? Like if they didn't do it at the house, if they did it somewhere, and I think they did do it somewhere else, I think he had to have refrigerated her.
Ooh, wow. And that right there, you guys, is a photo of David's Tesla that we found at a body shop in LA. Your Honor, I did not even buy it.
The only thing I can think of was a trophy of sorts for him. And I don't, because listen, it's not that hard to go and You know, you can drive 5 miles from that house and you'd be on Pacific Coast Highway and just let that Tesla go off into the ocean, you know, off a cliff, or have somebody steal it and get rid of it, whatever, have it gone forever. He kept
I would not even put it past I would not even put it past David to have this weird, weird, weird little fantasy and necrophilia. I'm just saying.
Allegedly.
Yes, I don't know for certain. I think it was, though, and it appeared that Sentry mode was probably turned off because it doesn't appear that they got any meaningful data from the car itself as far as the cameras or anything like that, because otherwise it would have been an immediate arrest. I do think because of the length of time, the car was most likely probably bricked, but I can't say for sure. I don't think that there was a key with it. I think they had to force entry. And I don't know, you know, I actually, it was going up for auction. He had never picked it up. You know, LAPD processed it. They only kept it 2 days.
David is guilty said that he denied being a necrophile on Discord, but it's crazy that people even asked him. Isn't that crazy? Why, like, why ask that question? That's disgusting.
Put it back in the impound yard, and I was watching it, and it was racking up daily fees, and then it had gotten to be like 3 months, and they finally put it up for auction, and it was supposed to go to auction like 8:30 in the morning, and a month or two, about 6 weeks ago or something, and I was going to go inspect it because they have an open inspection, and then at like 10 o'clock at night, it switched where somebody had come and with a power of attorney signed by him and a cashier's check and paid to get it out, and then they went to DMV immediately and put it into somebody else's name.
So
And
wait,
then-
somebody from his team bought the car?
I don't know who this. I don't know if it's his team. It's obviously somebody he knows in some way, or his lawyers do, or his management does, because he gave him a signed power of attorney in order to get it out of the impound yard, paid for it, and then they took it. And then I ran across it about 2 weeks ago. I ran across it outside of a Tesla body shop in South.
And we found it. We found it, y'all. We found it.
You can't ration because I hit him with that same logic. What rational man who's a multimillionaire can have almost any girl he wants of age would go
Yep.
after a little girl? And he couldn't
Exactly. It's like it's just not enough for them, I guess, in their sick, twisted, mindset. And listen, I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all. As an investigator, I'm very much an Occam's razor type of guy. I'm like the simplest explanation usually is the way these things go. But I'll tell you, it's hard to get around the fact that his lyrics and everything, I can understand a couple songs. Like, okay, like these are things you sing about that are, whatever. It seems very, very like this was his world. This, like, his lyrics talking about,
He probably did cause the damage on purpose, right? I mean, I'm very curious too if maybe he ever let Celeste drive that car, right, and let her learn how to drive on that car.
The dismember, you know, listen,
Sharon,
I have
Sharon.
text messages he sent to the girls of dismembered, you know, anime stuff, but it's dismemberment. He was into dismemberment. It's just
So he was
it's
sending
really,
the other minors he was talking to. He was sending dismembered animes to them.
there was images of. I'm not in the anime world, so if I say the terms wrong, whatever, forgive me. But you know, it was these you know, anime characters with their arms pulled off, and you could see, like, you know, they would show the like dismembered arm, you know, like detached. It's just crazy sick stuff. And this is before this all happened, obviously. But now looking back, you're going, wow, this is to consume this guy. This was like this was his thing. This was his kink or whatever. It just
So when I went to when I found this car at the auto body shop, the car did not have a smell. Unfortunately, I did not want to like trespass and go onto property. Plus, there were a lot of people outside just kind of like watching. So I wasn't able to film the front, but when I went, there was absolutely no smell. I'm assuming that the car was cleaned out, at least on the inside. But I do have another photo here that I'll show you guys, which I found very eerie, very odd when I saw it. Let me pull this up really quick. You guys can see this, right? In that car, had the little air freshener, that little Christmas tree was still there. And that was the Christmas tree that they said was placed in that, on the mirror the day that the car was moved. That part tripped me out. That was crazy. Hold on. All right, you guys, I just got some food delivered, so I'm going to go grab it really quick. I'll be right back and we'll continue this.
This guy had, like, man, he had everything. Like, if he went to, like, I don't, like, he was a young guy. Listen, he's talented. You can't say he's not a talented singer, right? And he had the world and he just overwhelmed him somehow. Like, this became more important. I don't understand, like, what it was he was trying to get out of life or whatever. Like, this is what the kind of people like never get a shot like this, right? Like, people that have that kind of talent, so many of them are just you never even know they're out there because they never get the shot. And this guy gets the shot, and what does he do? He takes the life of a little girl who didn't get to take her shot yet. You know what I mean? And never will get to. And who knows what she could have been? Who cares if she was anything? She became anything, but she's a human being, and he treated her like he owned her, like she was his. And then when he wasn't happy with whatever, or he felt that she was going to harm his career, he didn't just kill her, but he cut her apart.
The thing that is so weird to me is that, so the prosecutors are saying, can you explain to us why they charged him with killing a witness? So are they saying that she was a witness because she was wanting to come forward, or was there already an ongoing investigation before that she was a part of, and with her being killed, they could charge him with that?
So it's kind of both. She can be a witness to a crime against her, and now she's not here to be able to do that, to be given that opportunity. So it's killing a witness. However, several months ago, you know, when they did that live stream with Celeste, that delete everything, we knew that it was at this other house, which is also on the same street. It's called Doheny, but it's in a different part of Doheny. It's by coincidence on the same street. So that house where that happened, I actually, that's under the jurisdiction of the West Hollywood Sheriff's Department. And so I went to West Hollywood Sheriff and I said, hey, can I get any investigative files that have to do with a runaway or harboring or any type of event at that house for the time periods of 2023 to 2020.
Y'all still there? Type one in the chat if y'all are still there. I need to make sure you guys are still with me.
And they came back and said, we do have investigative files for a minor that involves a minor, but they're under seal because of an ongoing investigation, and you need to contact the Riverside County Sheriff's Department detective unit for more details, because they're the investigative lead on it. Now, that's the agency out in Lake Elsinore. So that's the agency we had heard that they had actually picked her up once out there at that house. So I do think, and I'm positive that they interviewed David. They talked to David, and they didn't do anything about it, but they talked to him. But I do think that there was some sort of investigation going on.
And this is before she was murdered.
This is before she was murdered. And so that was ongoing. And then
y'all, we are so close to hitting our goal of 2,000 subs, you guys. Almost there. We need about 50 subs, so we may not hit it tonight, but that's okay. But thanks to you guys, we are that much closer to hitting 2,000. So shout out to all of you guys, y'all. Y'all are the. I'm gonna give y'all that and the. Hey.
All of a sudden this happens. Now, it doesn't mean that there was this like they were going like, listen, she ran away again. She was in his company a lot of the time, so they weren't investigating it thoroughly. But the fact is, there was an open investigation, so she was a witness to that, and I'm sure they'd gotten a statement from her like, "Hey, what were you doing there? Why were you with? How'd you meet him? Whatever." So she's a witness. So he killed a witness, and it doesn't mean that there was charges filed yet, but she was a witness in an investigation. So, and not only that, but she can also be a witness. She's now no longer able to be a witness into the investigation into what's happening now because he killed her.
So with that continuous sexual abuse charge that he got, is that only for Celeste, or will they also be doing that for the minors that you're in contact with that he was talking to?
We don't know. I can say that I'm pretty confident it does not involve the minor that I'm in talks with, just because I know.
Of course, I had to hit him with the Don DeMarco. Hey, we're almost at 2,000 subs, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm a little excited, y'all. I am a battle rapper. Well, not anymore. I don't rap. I don't make music anymore. Hey, Star, thank you so much. I appreciate that. You subscribe tonight. I love seeing you when you're on Melly's channel. I appreciate that. Shout out to Melly too. I was actually just in her chat earlier, right before we went live. I had to stop by and say what's up.
What her communication with law enforcement has been and the DA's office has been very, very minimal.
Yeah, if we hit 2K tonight, FloJo will freestyle. Shit. We're not going to hit 2K tonight, so sorry.
If they were going to charge him with her, I think there would be more communication like, okay, are you sure you're willing to testify, or should we do this by written statement or whatever it may be? And so I think I can't answer your question. I have a feeling it's just going to be for Celeste for now, but I don't know. Like, listen, there's two things that I think are important. That it's all important what came out at the hearing the other day, but two things to really keep an eye on is one, the wiretap, because although states can do wiretaps, it's usually a federal thing because it's people talking across state lines, and that includes images being sent and whatnot, and then also the CCM material. Usually the feds get involved. So I would not be surprised to all of a sudden see a federal charges come down on him too in short term.
So what would the federal charge be that they could get him on?
Like child pornography, possession of child, because they didn't charge him with like possession of child pornography, and distribution and stuff like that. And those would be just a stack on top.
You know, the night that we played that freestyle video, a lot of people in the chat were just writing their own little tracks to it. And they were coming up with some fire. I'm telling you guys.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't the ones who have the longest sentence obviously will be the death penalty eligible case of murder, but it needs to be done because we need to make it known that this just can't happen. I mean, it's crazy that this is still these guys are still going after these kids. These are kids. Let them live. Let them live.
They were saying that at the end of all of this, and the reason why they want to rush into the speedy trial is because Blair Burke may cost David roughly up to $15 million to fight this case. Lord, oh Lord, David is in trouble. He needs some milk. Somebody get him some milk, because this man's going to be broke and broke in by the end of this case.
Live their life. Let them go and play with other 13-year-olds and do stupid kid shit that makes you what you are. Like
There you go. Finally, Steve, do some kid shit, right?
and do stupid kid shit that makes you what you are. Like you know what I mean? They should not be making adult decisions of like, am I going to be going over and having sex with him tonight? Am I going to be going to a party, to a record release party? No, go play on the swings and shit. Like, let them do. We just can't like. We need to clobber these guys, and these. It happens to the boys too. I mean, these predators. We need to eliminate. That's what we need to do, you know. And
now he said straight, eliminate them. Dear Lord, we got Steve said it, so we got to eliminate them all. Okay.
Yeah, and I just saw something go by too. I can't really read this goes fast, but something about the parents. Listen, I agree. The parents need to be held accountable.
I was just about to ask that because, like, one thing about the parents is, usually they don't always have to say something. You know what I mean? The family has to grieve, but I feel like this is one of those cases where the only like statement I know that's out there is that the mother just said that she had a boyfriend named David. That's like the only statement from the family that I've ever heard that is verified from them. So my question was going to be like, do you think the family is
They might, but they're not going to raise enough money to help that boy out. I promise you. They might have to sell the house that he put under his mom's deed, or the deeds that he put under his mom's name, because he's not going to have money soon. Oh, and especially that, right, Chloe? If the family goes after him for the wrongful death, oh Lord, this guy's going to have to take out a loan. What's up, Mama? Welcome. Wait, what? Hold on. Let me share this. Sorry.
Members of,
and you don't really see too much of an intervention between them.
Yep. I mean, yes. I have proof that family members have been to that rental house before. I've been with David and Celeste.
Wait, her family has been to his house?
Wow, you guys. Did you guys hear that? The family has been to David's property. Yikes.
Family members. Like listen, one of the first things I put down in this case was a build. We know that David and Celeste were at Six Flags on a certain date, and we found a Build-A-Bear certificate from the.
And let me tell you right now, right? He just mentioned Build-A-Bear. Let me tell you this for a fact. David loves Build-A-Bear. He loves Build-A-Bear.
The Build-A-Bear place in Six Flags in her cousin's name at the house, And so it's like, wait a minute. So she wasn't really missing. You want to know, in my opinion, what the missing persons report was about? It was to cover their ass so CPS didn't come in and say, hey, she's not going to school. What's up? If she's a missing person, you say she's not going to the school because she's a missing person. Then you don't have CPS in your life at that moment, And I sympathize. I know that they are. I know that they're grieving. I know they lost a daughter, but goddamn, like she shouldn't have been allowed to be. She was gone a year and a half, man. A year and a half. Like somebody should have said, maybe we shouldn't be letting Celeste live her own life like this. I don't care how much money he has, how famous he has. Maybe in some cultures they don't think that's that huge of an age gap. I don't care. That these are the laws that you've agreed to live under, and she's 14. She was not 15 like it says on her death certificate. She turned 15 the day before she was found in Tesla. She's been in that Tesla a long time.
I'm gonna just increase the speed a little bit just so we can kind of get through this.
She was 13 and 14 years old.
My food was delivered, so I'm getting kind of hungry
when this was happening, and she should have been in school. She should have been, playing video games with her friends and being listen, she'd only been a teenager for less than a year. I mean, think about that. I mean, it was her first year when this started happening, her first year being a teenager. This isn't a girl that was, about to turn 18.
So could you see
there needs to be accountability.
I'm with the charge. Could you see potential charges being pressed on the parents? Or do you think that for press reasons and
yeah, I think it's too high profile of a case, right? So they're gonna say, oh shit, we if we do that, we're gonna have a certain amount of the people that are gonna be like, I don't care if what they did is wrong. They, you got to give them some space because they're a grieving family, and they are, but they've also got to be like, hey, we messed up, we messed up, and listen, there is I think there's going to be financial transactions that come out in this. That if this goes to trial, they're going to show that there were people that were getting money, and it's going to look really, really bad.
So, oh my gosh, man, I did not, because I was under the impression that they might have known that she was with him, but there wasn't anything. But you have verifiable evidence to show that. And when you say family members, you don't have to disclose who, but are these adult family members that would have a say in her life?
Yeah. Now, the one, and her name's already been put out there, Esmeralda, is a cousin who was a senior in high school.
Okay, so this is the Esmeralda girl, the one who had the Build-A-Bear. Yeah. So we know that. So I'm very curious if parents were seen there.
But so I'm not so much blaming her, but the thing is that Esmeralda's parents, who would be her aunt and stuff like that, knew. Listen, I have other proof against those, but yes, there was adults. There was several people in her family that knew. Listen, her mom admitted she knew she was dating a guy named David, and she said, "Oh, I didn't know." She knew who it was. I mean, he would come out there and pick her up, in the Tesla, and they knew. She'd been found there, before. Police knew that she was with him at some point before that, because listen, the person that sent the email to his management saying, word is that she's with David. If that's true, please make sure she comes home. She's 13 years old. They only knew to send that to his man.
Is that
Steve?
Steve. So was it the school, or was it who was it that sent the email to the manager?
So I can't disclose who sent it. I've disclosed the email with the person's name redacted from it, and I'm looking for it here. I don't know if I have it on this case file or not, but what it says is an email sent to David at mogul.vision. Mogul Vision is his management. His manager's name, Josh Marshall, has a company called Mogul Vision, and so it was sent to David at mogul.vision, which is the email address, and it just said something paraphrasing. Rumor is that Celeste Rivas Hernandez, who's 13 years old.
These were some of the flowers that we brought to her memorial. These are some of the flowers that we brought to her memorial right around Christmas time. Went to go visit her on Christmas.
It was sent to David from his management company, and they're like, "Hey, yo, so and he then forwarded it to some people." But kind of lost my train of thought there. The email. So that was sent by a concerned person in the Lake Elsinore community that knew. It's one of those communities where people know each other, and especially around her school. It was not a teacher, but I will say it's somebody connected to the school. And
okay, I think is this the email right here? I'm gonna share my screen. I just want to. So you posted this on your Twitter, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna share.
Yes, that's it. And they included a picture. The missing persons flyer in it as well.
So this is.
Wait, is this SF on Discord? What?
The email that was sent to.
That's
David's
February
manager.
19th of 2024. I mean, this is how long
She was 13 at this time.
Yes, and the thing is that people knew she was with David. This is back in 2024. This is a year before, more than a year before we would even have, what I mean? Because it wasn't until September of 2025 that she's found. So all the way back in February of 2024, they're like, Lake Elsinore people know she's with David.
So my question now is, because in this email it says there's been talk that the artist David possibly has something to do with the disappearance of 13-year-old Celeste Rivas. If that statement holds any merit, please do the right thing and take her home. Her parents are very worried. Now my question is this person is not a family member related to Celeste, right?
No, she's not.
So if this random person, it may have been close or whatever, but whoever this person was, they knew to send this email to this manager. Why didn't Celeste's parents
Thank you, Veronica.
reach out as well?
It's a good question. That's something we'd like answers to. You know, it's hard to, you know, at the very beginning, we asked the same questions to ourselves. Like, okay, why wouldn't the parents? We think, okay, well, maybe this is when ICE raids are really ramping up, right? And we're like, okay, maybe there's like a documentation issue, but that's not the case. And we find out, well, okay, so that's not the case. So what is it then? You know, and then things start coming out about there's photos of meetings in Lake Elsinore with David with a paper bag, barely full of money.
Have you ever posted
That's this photo right here. Sharon, you know what? That is crazy that you said that, because I am now putting the face that I remember seeing at the courthouse on Monday with a photo that I have of someone pushing David in a wheelchair the day that he got his wisdom teeth removed, and they look very similar. But I had no idea that that was Celeste's sister. And Celeste's sister is dating somebody. Somebody has to do with like real estate. That is crazy, Sharon. Thank you for tying that all together. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I kind of saw it. If someone
I
gets
want to say that she has a sister and a brother.
send in my Discord, that'll be much appreciated. Let me see. So
there, that's it right there. Yep.
So do you know who these people are right here?
I do. I can't say who. They're minors too. I do.
Is there any relation to
They're,
Celeste?
they're not related. I'll tell you, there are people now that are definitely fighting for Celeste though.
The people fighting for Celeste. Oh.
Yeah.
So, and this is him in where was it that she was again?
This is Lake Elsinore, where she lived and went to school. This is like 3 blocks from her house. And keep in mind, Lake Elsinore is about 75 or 80 miles from the house where David lives, so it's not like just around the corner. So he's out there for a reason.
Okay, so she is dating that realtor guy, right? Holy shit. That is crazy, Sharon. Because this was something that, where's Bean Baby at? Is Bean Baby here? Bean Baby and I were talking about this months ago, but I had no idea the girl. And we found her TikTok and everything. Holy shit. I didn't know that that was Celeste's sister, but now that you mentioned it, and I remember seeing her face covered in a mask at the courthouse, totally her. That's crazy.
And I was gonna say, so, oh man, like, because I don't want the main focus needs to be on, because Celeste isn't here anymore, so she needs justice for her family. But I know you don't want to say it, but I don't care. I'll take the bullet. I see this as a lot of people in her life failed her, where a lot of this could have been prevented before it got to this point.
Or that could have been prevented.
You say that this is victim
I have
blaming
to
and stuff like
find
that. Well, no, this is just accountability.
that photo
This is
to show you guys.
The child needs to have some kind of guidance to keep people away from bad people. It doesn't matter how much money someone has, status, or anything like that. And so because this is a lot of new information that I feel like mainstream media isn't like talking about there being 2 different houses. So Celeste went to 2 different houses, and one of those houses there was a case report about her where was it a missing persons case report, or was it a different type of case report?
It stemmed from a missing persons case. So West Hollywood.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Celeste's sister was walking with the parents at the courthouse.
Had apparently been asked to do like a welfare check or look for Celeste when she was missing at this house, and so they had an open report about it. I don't have the exact details; I can't get it because they've shut me off from it. But what they did tell me was there's an open investigation. So I think that's one of the.
Okay, I just found the photos right now.
That's one of the ways they can say that she was murdered as a witness, but it doesn't even have to be that. It can be to her own case. But it all you know, it just shows just by the, you know, by the dates of like that email that was sent and stuff. This has been going on a very long time, and he wasn't worried. You know what I mean? Like he kept having her come back, and he wasn't worried about it. So I don't know. Like it was. I think there's a reason why we haven't seen a lot of statements. You know, and listen, like you said, it's about accountability, right? And I don't care if she was a handful. Maybe she was, and if parents get to the point where they just can't. They don't know what to do anymore. They can't just let them be like, okay, just go live whatever life you want to live. He's rich. What could go wrong? That he's famous. That you can't, like. There's, as much as I hate the CPS system, there are systems in place. But I say you got to go. You can't just make a decision that they can. Well, she's 13. I guess she got this. You know, you can't do that, right? And so there's got to be accountability. I understand that. I'm sure they're grieving. I'm sure they feel a tremendous amount of guilt.
Hold on, you guys. I'm still looking for the photos. Let me see. Because this, I mean, if it's true, it's pretty crazy. I gotta find like, I mean, there's one photo that I need to find for it all to like make sense, and that photo I can't find. 1 second.
But this can also be a learning experience, maybe for other parents that, this can never be right, you know, and it's never right for these predators to like, because they seek these are the people they seek out, you know what I mean? Like David had his choice of a lot of different girls, and there's a reason he chose this underage one that probably had a lot of things going on in her life that she probably disclosed to David. She's a victim, you know, and he just picked her off because it was easy to do.
Did Celeste have a father in her life, or was it just her mother?
Yeah, her father's still alive. I don't know to the extent that I don't know what that relationship that was. I don't know what the relationship was between her and her mother even. I've heard different accounts, you know, so I don't know. I don't think the family life was spectacular by any means, and but she's a little kid that deserved, you know, to be watched over and guided and helped and loved. And I'm not saying they didn't love her, but she like a year and a half. Like she was gone before she was found deceased. Like she was 13 and 14. Like can't wrap my head around how that.
When you say a year and a half, like that's.
Hold on, let me send my.
I feel like a lot of people think like, oh, a year and a half, like they had no. Was that year and a half really a year and a half of her missing, or was that just a year and a half of her just not sleeping at home?
Okay, so that's that's a very good point. And what we come to find out is it really wasn't a year and a half of her being truly missing, because she showed up at a couple of these events, like her cousin's high school graduation, but. You know, we know now that she most likely was killed on or very close to April 23rd. The time frame from April 23rd to September 8th, when she's found in the trunk, is a long period of time that you think people would have been like banging down David's door, being like, "Hey, we have not heard from her, not even like a hello or anything. What's going on? You know, how come she hasn't checked in?"
Right. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to find a video of the courthouse. We'll stop it. We'll look.
How come she hasn't sent a text to her brother or her sister or to her cousins and nothing? You know, that's a long period of time, but I don't know. I don't know if anybody was banging down his door, you know. When the news came out that a body had been found in his Tesla, I don't know why people weren't at the police station saying, "My daughter knows that guy," and I haven't seen my daughter or heard from my daughter in a very long time.
Wow. So I don't know how.
Okay, so here, let me just kind of show you guys. Now this will be up to you guys to decide, because I can't guarantee that this is all legit. Actually, 1 second. Let me just play this really quick, and let me like save the photos.
No, but
show
did the
it to you
parents
guys.
go to the police station, or did the police have to go to the parents?
TMZ actually. TMZ had somebody. Guy online that kind of figured it out in the Discord, and then he started like threatening. There's a weird sequence of events, but what it comes down to is he went to LAPD, and then he went to TMZ. TMZ called the mom, was like, "Hey, you know, does your daughter have this certain tattoo?" Because the medical examiner had put out to the public that she had a tattoo that said "shh," you know, and then they kind of put it together. But the thing is that that was news. Like this was big news in LA, right? This young girl, unidentified still, had been found in David, the singer's Tesla. They knew. They knew it was gonna be her. And, the Discord was talking about it.
And was this David's Discord, or was it just random?
David's.
I guess to wind it down, is there any, two questions? Have there been evidence that you found that the police didn't have that has aided further into this investigation where it sent it into a different route? And also, is there a piece of evidence that you either have found yourself or you know about to where you can definitively say without a shadow of doubt that he was the one who murdered her?
And so to take your last question first, there's nothing like a video of something happening.
Okay, you guys ready for this? Let me see if I can. Let me see if there's good. Where did it go? All right, let me see. We'll play this video. This person right here. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, but this person behind the phone. This person right here in the mask. Now it's hard because the person has a mask on. And
Just be careful on the stairs, guys, okay?
I don't know. This may not be the same person, you guys. May not be. I don't know, but
Just be careful on the stairs, guys, okay?
I was there that day, but I wasn't in this mob group right here. I was down the stairs. I don't know who knows.
Come on, guys.
So this person right here. Wait, hold on. Does she have a tattoo? Oh, that might be her. Is that a tattoo on her arm? Oh, shit. Okay, let me see if I can find other videos. Okay, anyway, so here are the photos that I have. This is one. This is another. And unfortunately, I can't bring them back to back or like show multiple photos. This is her. So here you can see that she's got the tattoos on her arm. Here's another photo of her. But here is the photo that Sharon was talking about. Here is that person with David. What do y'all think? See? Is this Celeste's sister? I don't know if it is. Somebody will have to confirm. Where my internet sleuths at? I don't know if this is just merely a coincidence or not, but if this is really Celeste's sister, yikes. Is that her? I don't know. Yo, that's crazy. Sharon, I believe you. If you say it. All right, let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up. Damn. Good shit, Sharon. Good shit, Sharon. Sharon's gonna get a hey.
Or even a body being taken out that I've seen, right? Of a totality of a lot of different evidence, I am certain that they have the right guy. I don't think they have all the guys or girls. I don't think that they have them all. I think they have the main one, and I hope that there's going to be more. But I do think this is going to be a circumstantial-based case. I think this is going to not be based so much on.
I want to know, is her name Frida? Is that the sister's name? I need to know what the sister's name is, y'all. Somebody find out the name.
The actual physical evidence they have is going to be on people rolling over on David, finally. To answer your first question, yeah, so there was some evidence. I don't know if LAPD, we kind of put their feet to the fire on it. We found a burn cage. David had purchased a burn cage, an incinerator, and it was at the house.
So that incinerator wasn't at the house before?
Well, we found it at the house, but I mean, why do you have an incinerator and a chainsaw? You don't need it at this house. It comes with all the yard people and stuff like that. You don't do any of your own maintenance, right? But why do you have an incinerator and a chainsaw?
Shout out to you, Deborah.
There's evidence, that was left behind, like a SD card from a camera, photos of him and Celeste together, and so this is all stuff we passed on to. And listen, I've met with the DA's office. There's been grand juries. I think that those transcripts they said yesterday will be released soon, and so I think more of my statements will.
Actually, I'm so happy you brought up the grand.
Ramona, the reason why we're looking at her sister is because Sharon had mentioned that Celeste's sister was David's dental assistant when he got his wisdom teeth removed, and that was a photo that we shared earlier. So Sharon kind of tied that all together today. And we've been looking at this photo for months trying to figure out who this girl is. So I'm very curious to confirm. I trust you, Sharon, but we gotta figure out a way to confirm this on the back end.
Grand jury. I don't know because I've always.
Nope, definitely cannot be a coincidence.
Why didn't this get just regularly in because from what you're saying, I mean, from just online, you see this totality of evidence where it's obvious that there's enough evidence to say that a crime probably occurred and David was a part of it. So
don't worry,
why
Sharon,
wasn't
I'll
he
find out.
officially indicted by a grand jury?
I don't know. I don't listen. They came out saying that they were in lockstep with LAPD, and anybody saying different.
Jennifer,
I don't think they were. They went to great lengths to keep all the evidence completely secretive. They got the medical examiner's reports sealed, and even in the medical examiner even came out with a statement where they thought that was not right to do. They thought that her family deserved to have answers of what happened to their daughter. They didn't like doing it. There's grand jury. I've had to be somewhat quiet about that.
You guys, again, this is not confirmed, right? This is not confirmed, although it's speculated. We'll be doing some digging on the back end.
Although as witnesses don't have to be, they're not kept to any secrecy. It's only the grand jurors themselves. And then I was threatened, with contempt. But I don't have a problem saying here because I know they're going to be unsealed. I did testify twice in front of the grand jury, and I don't know why they didn't indict. I don't think my personal thought is that LAPD probably was sick of the public giving them a hard. I wonder if part of it is that they were sick of being asked, is this a blown investigation? And they just said, we're gonna go ahead and arrest him, and the DA can either pick up charges or not pick up charges. And maybe that's what it came down to. And if it did come down to that, then I commend my client for because they were like, we're gonna, this started as us needing answers, what happened in our house, but we're gonna turn it into making sure that let's get this justice, and nothing gets left behind, no evidence, and nothing's gonna get swept under the rug, and we're gonna hold the feet to the fire. And if they're not gonna charge them, then we're gonna go on this worldwide damn campaign, and we'll show the evidence ourselves if we have to. And we were starting to get more vocal, and I'm not saying that that's why this happened, but I think that there was a lot of people that were in that situation. Like, listen, we've waited long enough. This girl needs justice. It shouldn't take 7 months to figure out what happened to a girl that was found in the front of a Tesla that was registered to David, that was in a wealthy neighborhood with tons of cameras, and lots of people around all the time. And what's taking so long? And finally, I think it hit a boiling point. And I don't think that this was planned. Because of the way they went, everything's going to be unsealed. Even they said yesterday the search warrants are all going to be unsealed. They probably are today. I'm going to go to the courthouse and see if any of them are unsealed yet as soon as we're done. And so I don't know. I think there was a disconnect between the DA's office and LAPD, and I think LAPD arrested them, and I'm glad they did. I don't think it should have taken this long, but
you shouldn't have to bully a prosecutor into doing their job.
Right. I mean, listen, I understand investigations take time. That's what I do for a living. I get it. However, this is not like we found a skeletal frame out in the middle of the desert and we have nothing to go from. This is, like I said, she was found in a car registered David, and she was known to be in a relationship.
Not gonna happen, 808. It's not gonna happen. I'm gonna be logging off soon. Once this is done, we're calling it a night, y'all. But we are very close. Holy Lord. Like 36 away.
of David. That's a pretty big starting point, right? And this is a guy who self-admittedly grew up on the internet and documented everything. And we've said that from the beginning. We're like, I guarantee he documented everything. It's all, and then we find out they said yesterday in court that his iCloud account alone, just his iCloud account, they would need a 10 terabyte drive to copy just to his iCloud account. That's none of the other stuff. So everything's in there, 10 terabytes. So
Ms. Dizzle, we're gonna have to take a point away.
Taking the song, I'm glad that Justice for Celeste is happening, and I truly do not think it would have happened if the public didn't stay engaged in this case and they weren't so vocal. I think that it very well could have gotten swept under the rug, but because everybody was like, we want to know what happened, and nobody forgot about it, which I think was easy to do during like the Nancy Guthrie case and some other cases where everybody got sidetracked. But people stayed on this case and were loud online and stuff, and that kept their feet to the fire at the DA's office and LAPD. And
Tanya, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the inner circle, y'all. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I hope everybody's proud of themselves, because I think that the reason charges came are because of the public. No,
I think you should be proud of yourself too, man. Just a huge big up to the house owners, because they could have just tried to sweep this under the rug, so they weren't. Because I mean, they weren't involved in it either way. But the fact that they went above and beyond to get you on this, the links that you went through on this case. So guys, this is his Twitter right here. Make sure you guys go follow him, because on his Twitter, he's gonna just be giving updates all the time. He's following this case. It's gonna be SF _ investigates. 33 missing persons found since 2023. So
that's pretty much the end of. Oh, I didn't get to show you my whole entire background, y'all. Damn. That was the interview with SF. Thank you so much, Gideon and SF, for having that interview and putting it together. See, my dog's freaking out. I don't know what he's playing with. Yoshi, what you playing with? You got something? That's funny. Anyways, y'all, thank you so much to who just became a member. Hold on, let me see. Let me shout you out. Tanya, thank you so much for becoming a member. Again, you guys, if you guys do want to consider becoming a member of the Inner Circle, we do have affordable membership starting at 99 cents. Lock in your membership now and join the Discord. I had a lot of fun tonight. This was fun. I was super exhausted. I was super tired. Lizzie, you are new. Well, welcome. This was fun, you guys. I enjoy doing earlier streams, because right now would be a time that we'd start. And we actually had I don't know, this is probably like record number subscribers to the channel. We're 24 subs away from hitting 2K. And yes, I'm going to keep touting it out, because it's thanks to you guys that we are growing. So I will ask that after this video, come back to the video, hype the video. All we're trying to do is grow, so we can show this channel to a larger audience, right? But thanks to you guys, it's crazy. We started off like at under 1900. Foxy says, check the Discord, damn it. Where'd you put it though? Okay. Hold on. Let me pull it up. We'll pull it up. Foxy said, check the goddamn Discord. Here we are. Oh, let me share this. Morris became a YouTube member. Welcome to the Inner Circle. Let me bring this up. Foxy said, check the goddamn Discord flow. Let's do this. There you go. So it says, family members of the 14-year-old girl seen running errands, taking advantage of Black Friday. Her parents, Mercedes and Jesus, out shopping at a local outlet, while Rivas' sister, Jennifer, was spotted earlier running errands at a Bank of America. That's her sister? We got it. That's her sister? That definitely don't look like her sister. That's the mom, Mercedes. This photo is AI. I don't know why this photo's still up. If that is her sister, then that means, oops, what the heck happened? What's going on here? If that is her sister, that's actually her sister, that this is absolutely not the same person. I don't know. Thank you, Deborah. I appreciate that. I hope our music turned off. Is Jennifer the dental assistant? It's a great question. Wait, Foxy, you're saying that yes, that is her? Like that is her in this photo right here? Oh Lord. Well, this girl and this girl might be two different people, right? But this very well could be the sister. Hold on, I'm waiting for Foxy. Where Foxy at? Oh no, I'm saying yes, the green sweater is her. Ah, god damn it. Norma just received your Cash App donation. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sorry, I wasn't sure if that was supposed to be a secret or not, but your name popped up. But your name is the same as your YouTube handle, so hope that. Just different hair color. I don't know, you guys. What do you guys? It looks like the same girl. I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted.
Allegedly.
This is all allegedly, right? Are these two the same people? This girl and this girl? That's what I want to know. Norma, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Well, you guys, this is something that we are going to have to sleep on, and I got to get out of here before we hit 2K because I am not freestyling tonight. Shit, what are we at? 32 away from hitting 2K. What's the screen name on the scrubs? Let's see. I think it says Frida. Let me see it right here. Y'all can do what y'all need to do. The second girl says, oh yeah, surgical tech. Is that what it said in one of these photos? Hold on. Surgical tech. Definitely not the same. The other one's a dental assistant. Well, if somebody gets their teeth pulled out, their wisdom teeth, are they going in for surgery? So it's possible a surgical tech could be there, right? M. DeBose, let them know. Subscribe. I got to get out of here before you guys hit 2K tonight because I am not freestyling. I know 808 from South London wants to hear me freestyle, but that ain't going to happen. No, surgical techs are definitely different from dental assistants. Trust me, I've taught at a school for many years, that had LVNs, dental assistants, surgical techs, etc. I know that they are definitely different. But my question is would they have a surgical tech in the environment where they would remove teeth like your wisdom teeth? That I don't know. I don't know if they would use like dental hygienist but that would be considered oral surgery, right? So yeah, we definitely can, but I feel like it's more fun if we just figure it out together. But y'all are gonna have to sleep on it. You see, we already lost a ton of viewers right now. That they went to sleep already. And plus, I got food right here. I just got food. So I am going to eat because this is going to be my first meal of the day. Norma Guerra. Okay, so J Rabbit said, I had to get surgery to remove mine. That's right. Well, you guys, it looks like we did not hit our goal of 2K tonight. So that means that I do not have to freestyle. So the bet is now off of the table. So I do want to thank all of you guys who tuned in tonight. This was really only supposed to be a 1 hour live because it was Friday and I was just going to get on with life. But because you guys showed up, y'all really showed up. We had like 300 people total on across all three platforms, which is like a lot for one of my shows. Because normally we only pull like 60, 70 people, but 300 people was crazy. So all of you guys who supported the channel, let me just make sure I shout you guys out. Jazzy supported the channel with her $5 super chat. Jess with your new account, right? Thank you for your $9.99 super chat. And if you received the gifted membership from me, I donated 10. So welcome to the inner circle, y'all. Tanya became a member, so welcome to the inner circle. And Morris became a member. So shout out to y'all for the support. You guys, the journey to justice for Celeste is not over, not even over by a long shot, you guys. We still have a lot more time. Let me get this girl off of the screen, right? Y'all need to see this though. Justice is not, not too far away, but we still got a long way to go. You're going to grab your membership. Oh, well, you still can. I'll wait. Next time. Okay. We'll wait till next time. No worries, no rush. And just so you guys know, Lilith, oh my God, hold on. Lilith, I have not seen you since this case began. You were like one of the first people that I spoke to in the chats when this thing began. Holy Lord, where have you been? Mac Dizzle said, be ready. That freestyle will get you next time. Or we're going to have to wait till 3,000. Lilith, where have you been? Are you good? Are you alive? Are you well? It's been like almost 7 months since we've spoken. You like disappeared. Well, I'm so glad to see you back in the chat. You sent me an email earlier. Okay, everything's good on your end? You safe? You're good? Wow. Well, it's been that long. So I'll definitely check out your email. I'll definitely respond. Darling Jess says, hell yeah, be ready, Flojo. Freestyle about David. I don't know. Might have to wait till we hit like 3K or something, or 5K. I don't know. Who knows? But y'all are gonna have to wait because I don't make music anymore. I'm done. Can I put some information on your Discord on what we're talking about? Sure, Ramona. Of course. You know the Discord is where it's at. So again, if you guys want to become a member, join the inner circle. Very affordable memberships, no pressure. You don't have to. You can just wait till you get gifted a membership, right? But yeah, 2.5K. Hell no, we're not gonna do that. This is gonna come way too soon. Jennifer Martinez, she is the one married to the realtor, and his last name is Martinez. I think her father is Martinez. Celeste and her have different last names. Ooh. Well, you guys, I do want to ask, the next time I come on live, are you guys going to be there? So I'm going to ask that you like this video, you subscribe, make sure you turn all your notifications on so you know when I go live next. That's going to be it, you guys. I'm going to leave this photo here for you guys. Man, maybe we'll do this one, you guys. That's going to be it for me tonight. Thank you guys so much. I love all of you guys that hung out. Thank you guys so much. You guys know you guys don't have to. You guys always, there's always another place to be, but you guys chose to be here. So I want to thank you guys. Okay. With that said, all of you guys have a good night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.